Yes, I know when to hit
Hello, everyone. This is Bruce Wojcik Hoover, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Comic Clowns Podcast. With me, as always, yes, Kyle. Yes, as you guys can recognize the voice by now, and
The unenthusiastic voice.
also,
Don Conis Macaluso.
and then we have us with us as a special guest this evening.
Yo, Jack Sentinel here.
Exactly. It's going to be a fantastic evening. I'm enjoying the fact that my stream quality is back to excellent versus the versus my spotty crap last night.
You know, move the cable so people can see more of me.
Exactly.
Because that's what they want on this.
We all
on this stream.
yes. All the single ladies. I mean,
Right.
All right. This what was now
Women watch us?
12/20, 2019. This will be our last cast for 2020.
2019.
That's what I meant.
You mean last guest before 2020. Yeah.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, he's just
Come on, read his mind, Kyle.
He's just starting 2020 off right and just ending this now. This is the last cast of the Comic Clowns podcast.
We're done. We're just done here.
Bye, everybody.
I just want to say, and let me start with the top here. How's everybody doing? How you doing, Kyle? How's everything been going? This is the last time we talked 2 weeks ago. And Kyle is drinking.
It's going that well, huh?
What about sums it up?
Yeah, okay,
I
fair
was
enough.
in here 2 weeks ago.
I know. How were you a month ago? Back to the beer.
Going back to
Don,
the
how
beer.
about you?
I've been doing fine, finishing off a very strong year on the business front. And just wrapping up a few little things, getting ready to relax and have some time off.
What about you, Jax? We haven't seen you in about 2 months. And he starts drinking the whiskey.
Well, ups and downs, but podcast is going strong. We're doing as much madness as humanly possible, so hey, could be worse.
Could be worse. Could be better.
Could be extremely better,
Could
but
always be worse.
Can't always be better, but
no.
No.
It never gets better.
oh my god.
Beatings will continue until morale
morale improves. Yes. I want to welcome everybody, and also, if you guys do not know, we also host a Saturday D&D stream every once in a while. We put up the schedule when we can. It's just been, you know how it goes. The Homicide Vagabonds, where me, Kyle, and a couple others have some really rambunctious D&D events, and it just gets absolutely crazy. I'm nearly dead already, and so is Bird. That took no time at all.
No, you guys are alive again.
No, we didn't gain shit back before our adventure.
I'll trade you. I'm doing an Avernus campaign,
No,
and
we did
I've
not.
died. Enough.
We're searching a tomb. You're not dead yet.
No. Almost dead.
Yeah,
We're the
that's
tanks,
the
and we're
operative.
down to 12.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah,
I'm okay.
And Bird's maximum HP cannot go above like half his current max. It was a rough. He got hit by something. I tried to open a door, and then I critically failed.
That's what you get for
I
opening
just
doors.
got decapitated by a dragon. What the fuck are y'all doing over here?
We almost fought a level
Because
19 Death Knight.
At least that's straightforward. Getting decapitated by a dragon, that's something you expect. But doors, you don't expect a door to be that dangerous.
It's D&D. You expect all doors to have pipe bombs behind
fair
them.
point.
I opened one, and it was a Death Knight standing in there, and I'm like, I shouldn't do this, but he's wearing armor, and I want it. And then I went to the other door, and I'm like, fuck it, kicked the door, and I critically aged to my maximum age, then back down, and pretty much I got endgamed.
Dang.
It was entertaining, but yes, we're doing that more and more often.
I did a Captain America crash through a stained glass window.
Nice.
Jason threw him.
Of course.
No.
Of course he did.
I jumped off Jason's shoulder and rolled a nat 20, so I launched myself.
Oh, yeah,
through.
you pulled yourself up.
Jason
That was-
did nothing.
He stood there.
Gave yourself a nice yeet.
So,
No,
I guess
no
we're-
grown man should ever, ever say that.
But it has its uses.
No.
It has its uses.
No,
We'll take this one to the chat. Chad, what do you think?
Oh, jeez.
no.
But as I was saying, as 2019 comes to a close, we're going to take the time to reflect on 2010 to through 2019. So it's,
I'll come in at 2013 when I became a civilian again.
I'll try and remember
we
from
could-
alcohol
I
poisoning.
say if everyone remembers Beer Fest,
Yep.
you got to remember through alcoholism, and that's pretty much my theory
That
on
is
most
my
of this.
alcoholism.
I know so far twice this year, I have destroyed my stomach through alcohol and sugar. So I'm suffering through the second part of that now as we speak. So the alcohol may not be as great as before. But it was, as I was saying then before, I got out of the military August 2009. So this was my 10-year anniversary being out. And most you civilians, yeah,
Bunch of idiots.
you're a bunch of idiots. That's the nicest thing I can say.
Yep.
You know what? I'll take that.
I was like, I love most of you.
Nope.
Right here to the heart. I know, I met my friends. But a lot of you can't do it. Can't do it.
No, I don't blame you one bit. There's some characters out there, some characters in this room, but there's a lot of them out there too.
So
Right.
let's just
Fair
go ahead
enough.
here and like in the last 10 years, I just want to like one of your fondest memories that had to do with the geekdom culture and anything at that point. Like I'll give you mine. I spent one whole year, I think it was 2011 to 2012. I'd have to double check those years again because I remember when I worked for Morgan Stanley and Northern Trust, my last 2 jobs. But I had a guy at Northern Trust where he would disappear every Wednesday. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to Graham Cracker, Graham Cracker is a comic book shop downtown. And we worked down the block from it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go with you. And I was the first time in a long time that I had stepped foot inside of a comic shop. And I picked up Batman Eternal #1. I spent the next year weekly, because it came out weekly, 52 episodes, 1 year to the date, of picking up a great fucking story. One of my it Quentin Tarantino'd you for a year. First issue, Bruce Wayne, Batman from the way with shirt ripped off, mask off, tied to the fucking bat signal with the bat symbol carved in his chest, just bleeding, with Gotham on fire. And a year later, I finally got the answer to what the hell just happened.
You might be wondering how I got here.
Exactly.
Let me tell you how I met your mother.
Yeah,
Right?
No, How I Met Your Mother was less convoluted than that storyline. Okay, because every time you thought you had it at month 6, you were wrong. But it was such a good time. It was just such a fond memory because I had something to look forward to every single time. Anyone else?
All right, I'll jump in. Well, I discovered one of my favorite video game franchises in the decade.
Which one?
The Fallout series.
I was gonna say Fallout.
I did not get into Fallout 3 right when it came out. It took me a couple years. Took me till probably 2010 that I got into playing Fallout 3, and then into New Vegas, then 4, and then there was 76. But what relationship doesn't have a little bit of heartbreak every now and again?
Amen to that.
And that series really grabbed me, and I've gone back recently and been playing Fallout 4 again. It had to be a 5th playthrough now. Thank you, modding community, for making that last forever, because I will probably never get sick of that game.
We'll get to that.
Oh. Out of curiosity, have you gone back to play 1 and 2?
No, I haven't played them. I own them. I have not played them. I own 1, 2, and Tactics, and haven't played any of them. But I know the stories that happen. I know how the game plays. I feel like I know enough about the games to appreciate what's involved. One of these days, I'll get some time to go back and play them, but that's a ton more hours to sink.
No, you won't.
Well, yeah, probably not.
He works from home. He'll do it.
Yeah.
No, I feel like he works.
Yeah,
That's what I say. I say I work, and my office just happens to be in my house.
Exactly.
we don't believe him.
I mean,
I'm pushing for that.
All right, so I spent a lot of time on the couch today. I was working on a project, but I was able to do it from my couch.
in his defense,
More power to
my
you.
office is my couch. So,
Yeah, see?
I'm working on that.
see?
I can make it my couch. I just like my manager takes off a lot, and now I'm being prove that I can do the same thing from home. So I get to pretty much I told him yeah, I won't if we can play this right, I won't see you the rest of this year because he's off the rest of this for next week, and I'm off the 30th. I'm like, just let me work from home on the 31st, and we'll call it even. So I'm hoping I don't see you in 2020, jackass, and I can just leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely an interesting experience, and I would say the highlight of my decade too was leaving a 9-to-5 job and being able to run the business from home full time has been a huge mental health adjustment for the positive. If you're stuck in a job you hate, kind of dead end, and hey, maybe there's an opportunity to get out there and break out and do your own thing, try something different, and it has worked wonders for me.
working on that.
All right,
too.
all right, that's your personal highlight. Let's just back up off of
Yeah,
that.
well, it was relevant. It was relevant.
We'll get to the personal. Like, I'm talking about like in the gaming and video stuff community. That's where I'm curious right now. Because obviously, if I have to go like personal highlight,
Well,
I got
yeah.
freaking married.
Yeah.
I can't. If I don't say she doesn't listen to this. Personal
No, she
highlight.
doesn't.
I got to start a podcast and own CFF. So those were kind of amazing. Those were amazing stuff. I discovered conventions.
Same here.
And that was pretty much a good thing for a decade. That made the decade.
I discovered I don't like
hell, that's the
conventions.
that actually was it. That actually consumed my decade. You say you don't like them, Kyle?
Yeah, I discovered I don't like conventions.
Yeah, I know you
It's
don't.
not for everybody.
It's really not. And knowing Kyle's personality, it just doesn't work.
Knowing Kyle for the short period of time I've known him, he would probably murder someone at a con if he could.
No, that's not me at all.
No, not violence. Not to that.
That's Chris.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
that too.
That's the
I
enforcement.
mean, Vendor Alley's cool, Artist Alley's cool, but I can do that in like 3 hours and then I'm done.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I had to discover myself something to do, which was CFF. That became
And
an
alcohol.
entertainment factor. Well, I mean, because I did the vendor hall in like 3 hours too, and I actually went to a convention where I didn't have anything to do, and my first thought was, "Wow, it's the first event I've been to where I'm not working. What do I do now?" And then I just got drunk, and I'm like, "Oh, I could have done this at home."
That's kind of where I was for a while.
I drank enough in the Navy to where I don't really need to drink anymore unless I want to.
Fair enough.
And I don't drink to get drunk anymore, and that's, no.
Also,
Well, you should
redact
try it
kill with
sometime.
words. Would that count?
Well,
Oh, if I could, trust me, a lot of people would be dead.
but go on. What was Jax? What was yours? What was
Okay.
your What was like the biggest thing that like made you happy in the nerd world?
All right, this one's gonna be a little bit of a stretch. Can I count music in this?
Yeah, I don't care.
Okay. So, well, fuck you too. No. So I've been a diehard fan of this band from like the '80s called Mr. Big. A lot of people don't know them. A lot of people do. It personally doesn't matter. If you've heard the song "Wild World," that's them in a nutshell. So
Oh yeah, totally.
yeah.
Keep going.
So I thought they were disbanded forever on my 18th birthday, which was about, I want to say 2009, give or take. I don't even remember. But around that
How
time,
old are you now?
28.
So 10 years ago would be 2009. You would be 18.
Okay, so I am right. All right. So
This is what Kyle does.
this is why I like Kyle. He reminds me through rage.
Do you feel like those words are killing you inside yet?
No, that's just a
All
heart
right, Kyle,
failure.
you got to work on it.
No.
We
So-
just started. We've been
Right, he
live for
has like
10 minutes.
he has 2 hours. He's got time.
13 minutes, 47 seconds.
It's like 10 minutes.
Right.
But go on.
Okay,
You
so-
found out this band came back together
This
for a
band
concert,
came back
I'm assuming.
together, and then they had on my birthday a fucking concert at the House of Blues. It was the last day I was going to be in Chicago for I want to say like 4 or 5 years, and I was hyped. But the best part about it was like $5. I got essentially front row standing seats to the band that fucking made me who I am. And they played every single one of my favorite songs. Then 5 years later, when I came back, they fucking did the same thing, but they were like $50 tickets. When again, same shit happened again. Hypest point of my entire decade.
See, this decade I met I Prevail,
There you go.
which was a very good one. I got to threaten I Prevail. That was fun. I mean, that was entertaining. Me and Jason threatened them to not stop doing cover songs. They started break stuff, and then they stopped and went to Taylor Swift. Me and Jason were about 7 beers and 2 shots of absinthe in when we decided to go say hi to them at the end of the show. And then they also said, we didn't name the song yet. What should we call it? What's that? Black Hawks Suck. And Chris nearly made it to the stage where they said it was a joke. So that was like an entertaining, and then I followed them throughout the whole entire time. So I understand definitely with music.
Yeah. I guess other nerdy shit, going to cons and breaking a personal record, making a podcast myself.
What's a breaking your personal record?
How many conventions I can go to in a year?
How many was it?
My original record was 10. I broke 100.
In 1 year.
Yeah. I traveled with a bunch of vendor buddies.
Okay, that explains it.
Yep.
That's a hell of a year.
Yeah, it was hell.
What the hell did you do for a job in between there?
I was a college student. I didn't give a fuck.
That explains
there you
it.
go.
There it is. Kyle, what about you?
I mean, I made a lot of professors with higher education degrees cry.
This is 10
right.
reasons why I left.
what I did when I got out.
I mean,
It's really hard when you have professors that look at you like you're some form of high school kid, and you're like looking at them going, "No,
I'm smarter than you.
exactly."
And I really am, and it became my sole purpose to prove that to them.
There's a story there that I need to hear, because
So I did nuclear power for the Navy.
that'll do it. All right, continue.
So I was a reactor operator. I made hot rock boil steam, turn engines, blah blah blah, ship go through water.
Yeah.
It's a lot of school. You got to be smart to make it through it. I mean, it's more of a pump than a filter nowadays, but you still have to know shit. But I get out. I did maintenance for Mars Chocolate for 2 years. Worked in the solar industry down in Texas for 2 years. Came back, did school for about 1.5 years, 2 years to get my master's. And I had to take an environmental science because, you're going to get an MBA, you need to...
You have to do it.
Yep.
You have to take prereqs because, college is a business and not an institution of learning.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So she made us we had to do a report on some kind of form of power.
Wait, was this the same chick that you kept telling me about?
Yeah.
Oh, I had her too. I mean,
She had a PhD.
I yelled at her
So,
too.
so naturally, I take nuclear power. The other guy in my group was also a nuke in the Navy. Yeah. And this was right around the time of the hurricane in Houston. And if Chris was here, he could attest to all of this because he was in the class with me. She was trying to turn the entire class on me because I had her so frustrated. And everyone just looked at her like, no, we've had classes with him before. We know how this ends.
God.
It's good. Like,
Yeah, no, that's...
If I could have been in that classroom, I probably would have been laughing.
Dude.
Yeah, right.
The amount of stuff that you realize when you go into college as a high schooler, you have this like, okay, this is like high school. I got to make sure that I'm paying attention. Got to make sure I'm on time. Make sure I'm dressed nice. When you come out of the military, if I show up in pants, it's an amazing scenario. Okay.
It's not even in the military.
that-
like,
that's
if you
him.
go to college
No, I
as
meant
an
like I'll
adult,
be wearing like sweatpants or like shorts. or something.
again, that's him.
if I come in a
that wasn't
shirt,
me.
that's a miracle.
I didn't really care. I walked in there and I dealt with everybody the same way. And like I said, he got his MBA, I got my MIS, and I just it was looking at teachers going, I'm not them, so let's.
Oh, no. I'm not a 20-year-old baseball player or...
I had to take calculus, and I looked at the teacher. I'm like, all right, I don't do this very often. Why the hell am I taking this class? Like, exactly. I want you to explain to me why I need to sit in your room right now, because I don't understand here. And he's like, well, this will be used for architects, bridge builders, and something else. I'm like, 3 of us are IT. Those 4 are cooks. That one's a business major, and that douchebag is going to fail out when he gets done with baseball. Why do I need to learn this again? He's like, I need you to leave. I'm like, well, that's just not going to happen. I'm just curious.
Right?
And he never gave me an answer. So I pissed him off by finding the fast way of doing all of his work. And he's like, well, I wasn't going to teach you guys that till week 4. I'm like, I know it's week 1. This is a lot easier now.
Right.
I mean, I had to take a PowerPoint class,
Oh, God.
an Excel class.
I didn't because I was IT. I was IT and RM in the Navy, so I didn't
Okay.
have to do those. I also got tested. I also passed aquatic sciences because I was in the Navy. I don't know how you didn't get that one for your BS for a science class.
I'm so confused. How the... You know what? Here I am just sitting here with my electric engineering degree going.
take a
I
sip.
also
Just take a
came into college, or that time of college, with 64 credits from Northern Illinois that I drank myself out of.
That sounds about right.
That's why you went in. One of the reasons. But now let's see.
No, that's the reason.
Oh, yeah. What about everything else? So, what was your favorite, like your fondest memory, besides, like for like nerd and things like that for the year?
I mean, school's kind of nerdy.
That is true.
I'll let you take it.
I mean, the podcast has been fun. D&D's been fun. Yelling at Marvel for being dumb.
All right. So I guess
Lots
we'll
of yelling at Marvel for being dumb.
yelling at DC for being dumb.
Yep. that's a lost cause.
Yeah.
But if we go back to Marvel, you have to remember this was like the decade of Marvel.
Oh yeah, no, it entirely was the decade of Disney.
Marvel fucking. Yeah,
No,
yeah,
well,
too.
yeah, well, the decade of Disney. So it was the decade. It was the decade of comic book movies, and that's where we were at a high point
That's where
and
this
a
was
low
born.
point. We were at very like excited points because we had. It was the oversaturation of the market, but at the very beginning, it was very exciting. Like it was so
where
much
we all
fun.
became accepted as a culture.
Right?
Yeah, and the only problem with being accepted as the culture was the fact that people told us that they knew more, they knew better than us, and that's where
naturally,
we
and
started
that's
fighting.
Where we made them cry.
That's when I started fighting. My favorite thing was I was like, I'll give you an example. Today was like someone posted on Facebook. I believe Captain America is a better superhero than Superman. Fight me on that. And then I didn't want to argue that. What I wanted to argue was in the comics, because what the hell the person said had nothing to do with the argument that was posted. Because it says, at least I won't have a superhero that is weak to rocks. I'm like, you're right. Cap's just weak to bullets. So I took the picture from Civil War with him dead on the steps and just posted it on that wall.
But Superman can just breathe and put Cap back into an icicle.
And that, but it was like, but it was just funny. It was just funny. Like, I didn't even care. I didn't care about the argument itself. It was just that one weak to rocks comment. I'm like, yeah, he's weak to bullets.
Bullets are made of graphite, right? That's
Depending,
a rock.
lead.
Lead is
Yeah, lead, graphite.
from a
yeah.
stone.
It could be made
Brass.
almost anything.
All of that comes from ore, which is rock. So he's
just-
weaker to rock.
It just depends how it's the trajectory to rock.
yeah.
An alien rock.
It has to be an alien one. It was just something
See,
really.
a rock not even found on the planet he lives on.
It was just funny that like it was seeing certain people like just conversations and like seeing it more and more pop up in social media, and people were like, "Oh my god, me and my boyfriend are going to go see this," and I'm just looking at him going, "Where were you? Like a year ago? I don't even care about the part of being picked on. I wanted just to talk to somebody."
Right? Yeah.
You guys would have read a comic book, we would have been okay. Shit, but like you also had the highs. Let's talk about the highs. Deadpool. One of the highs. Mm-hmm. One of the lows. Let's go to DC on that one.
Green Lantern.
Green Lantern.
Justice League.
Let's never talk about
Suicide Squad.
Oh god damn it. DC. Everything.
DCU. But like it was like the highs and lows of like the comic world, and it was very to me. I think that was what made this last decade something that we could really dive into as a culture.
So, what was your high for the movie or series? High of the decade.
Well, my high is also probably going to be my low. If we're talking a franchise, I'm going to throw Star Wars into the mix here. Because
Oh no, that works. It's okay.
the new trilogy, granted I haven't seen the latest because it just came out.
Tomorrow morning, 7:30. I'm there.
In Orland.
Kayla hates me.
I've heard
That's fine.
good things, I've heard bad things.
Shut up.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say anything more than that. I don't know anything besides
I
that.
don't
Just
want to
people
even know
said.
that.
John, this is the Homicide Vagabonds mug. I will hand it to Kyle for him to
I
beat
got
you
you,
with
I
it.
got you. However, I wasn't a huge fan of what's come out in the main trilogy thus far. Am a fan, very much a fan, of the...
Mandalorian.
I haven't started it yet. I'm waiting for the season to end so I can just binge the whole
So
thing.
you really don't want to do that. This is one of the. Do you want my honest opinion? This is one of those series you really didn't want to do that with because it brought the nostalgia back of waiting that week and having the idea of like being able to sit on any cliffhanger
Yeah.
that's
Well,
there.
I'm going to do
It
my
builds
form
it.
of binging,
Also-
which is like watch it every 2 days.
Also, weird fact. You randomly came up to me and asked me, did I see The Mandalorian? 2 days after that.
We did a podcast that same night about the Mandalorian, so I was
Yeah.
seeing what you were doing because Kyle had left, and it left me with like nobody that had seen it at that point.
No, you did that 2 days later. A friend of mine was like, hey, you want to just binge Mandalorian and drink? Yes. Fuck, watch that thing like 2 episodes at a time. I
But-
cried.
So between Mandalorian, Solo, and Rogue One, awesome.
I enjoyed Solo far more than I should have.
I think that's the general reaction from a lot of people. Low expectations and high delivery.
I didn't like it that much.
Which is what everyone expected.
Yeah.
What about you, Jax?
Well, let's see.
For movies, from the nerdy genre, if you will.
Oh, I'm not going movie.
Okay, I'm gonna go anime with this one.
You said series. Series too. My bad.
Series, I got one, but movie, I'd have to say
FMA?
Oh, no, we don't go there again. No, Your Voice. It's essentially about a deaf girl, and it's like this giant romance story.
I wait. I don't. I've never seen it.
I'm
Don't
not
you
going to
explain
spoil
it? Know what I've seen in it though? I was at Anime Crossroads, and someone did a OV. I did a AMA on it. Anime music or AMV, excuse me.
Yeah.
A music video of it, and I was just watching it, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? And I wrote it down, and it's on Netflix right now, and I need to go watch it.
I watched it. I sat there. I cried because I did not expect something that wasn't Ghibli to make me feel Ghibli feels. That shit hurt.
Ghibli?
Yeah. Ghibli,
Producer
Ghibli,
Howl's
I don't
Moving
know.
Castle, Kiki.
No. It's
Ghibli.
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 I'll say Ghibli.
Everyone
Which
calls
is
it
funny because
GIF.
Maserati
GIF.
pronounces it
GIF.
Ghibli.
Yeah, he's Japanese. This is English.
Maserati, the car company, they have a car.
No one cares about the Maserati.
Yeah, but
no one can
they-
afford them. That's Italian.
No, and they're terrible cars too.
What about you, Kyle? Your series.
Daredevil.
That was your high. That was a long
Luke
time ago
Cage.
too.
All 3
used to
seasons
see
were
some-
amazing.
Yeah.
Vincent D'Onofrio as Kingpin. Fantastic.
Oh yes.
I actually really loved him as Kingpin. Holy
Yes.
shit. Like, I was not expecting
I-
him to be good. And
No one really thought much of it.
I believed in him. If he could play a space bug, I think he could.
I
handle
believed
Kingpin.
in him because I've seen other things he's in, but I didn't have much faith going into these series. So when you saw him in that first few episodes, that's what it's like. Oh shit, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that's fair.
You need to get on that. Like that's that thing. Like you people, it was the first like Netflix one. You know what I mean? Like that was
was
the,
the
that was
first
the
Netflix
that
one.
was the launch of what would now be what we're currently dealing with.
The music in Luke Cage was fantastic.
Oh my god! Hail to the Chief is one of the songs that I
Yes.
played on fucking repeat in my car.
okay.
We
Luke
opened up.
Cage
We
was my high.
we opened up.
Luke Cage was good. I didn't
we-
watch season 2.
I did not watch season 2
I
either.
didn't watch season
We opened up. Was it? We opened up
Coffee?
our podcast talking about it with Hail to the Chief. I didn't care. I'm like, this song is just. It's
Yeah.
really good. The whole that series was entertaining.
Yeah. No, like, Luke Cage
Iron
was
Fist
my
was
high.
absolute shit.
Iron Fist was a piece of shit from the get-go, and that...
Wait, didn't Jessica Jones come out before? Jessica Jones came out before Daredevil.
Yeah.
No,
No. Really?
no. Daredevil was first.
Oh, I thought Jessica Jones came out first.
Nope.
Shortly
That's-
after. It
that's some
wasn't that
wiki
long.
Luke Cage was It was Daredevil, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Iron Fist, and then the season 2s were all jumbled.
Honestly, for me, the high would have been between, ironically, Luke Cage and Black Lightning. Only because those were hardcores
You're
for
right.
me
It was
growing up.
April Daredevil. April 2015 was Daredevil. Jessica Jones was November 2015, and then Luke Cage came. Daredevil season 2 was March 2016, and then Luke Cage was September 2016.
Luke Cage was in Jessica Jones season 1.
Yes,
yeah.
he was. That's where I was like, it was those two were so close that I thought one came after. I didn't watch Daredevil till after.
I didn't watch Jessica Jones. I couldn't get into it.
I could not get into. I got into her character in freaking Defenders, but that was about it. I couldn't get into her. Like I tried watching number 1, and I just really couldn't.
I just don't like Purple Man, and
I enjoy his power. I just don't like. I like the actor. I just didn't like what they.
well, yeah, Matthew Tennant,
It's fucking Tenet. You know?
it's the Doctor.
God, like the high. I don't know. I think, and it seems stereotypical for my high was Endgame, and it was because I looked at it from the perspective of this is a culmination of over 10 years worth of stuff, and it actually delivered. To me, it delivered. It delivered on everything that we wanted. It hit every comic book niche you could have wanted. The only time I think it fell flat was the Hulk. That was my biggest disappointment of that film. Was the Hulk. Everything else I could deal with. I enjoyed. I like that they tied all the movies together. That Captain America singing Avengers. like what was amazing. I know Kyle didn't squeal like a little girl. I know I did. I was very happy. I still go back to that scene a lot. Like someone goes, "You're putting on Endgame." I'm like, the last like 30 minutes, then I'm turning it off. Like that's all I want to see was that scene because like the Thor going. He goes, "You know this is a trap, right?" And Iron Man saying, "I much don't care." And then he goes, "As long as we're all in agreement. Let's kill him properly this time." I'm like, yes, let's go, Thor, Odin's son, who looks more like a king. The funny part is they made Fat Thor as a joke. I'm like, but he looked more like a king because as you become a king, you really don't do as much as you normally would. So you do put on that girth of a body.
Yeah.
And as Guardians, just convert most of that to power, anyways.
Also, can we point out the fact that a lot of people do the same thing with Disenchantment, like King Zod from Disenchantment? Have you seen it?
I enjoyed Disenchantment.
I've watched a bunch of episodes of Disenchantment. I've never seen it the whole way through. But yeah, Zod. Yeah. Okay, I know who you're talking about. Now,
Yeah, like they do the exact same thing, and they try and put it off as a joke. But then later on, when he actually wrecks somebody, you have to question. Yeah, no, this is a war. This was a warrior king. He would destroy someone in a heartbeat, even
Robert
with 50.
Baratheon.
Well, yeah.
Let's go back to you're talking about highs. We're talking about that stuff. Let's go with the comic book series. Now, right now, that is a tie because that king. I don't know if you had a chance to read that Doomsday Clock. Watch that Doomsday Clock video. Or not.
No.
I still want to read Doomsday Clock so bad.
Doomsday Clock failed in one respect, as they took too long between each issue. The ending they released, though, because I watched it on Comic Books Explained just recently, was absolutely amazing. Like,
From what I've heard, though, it's DC doesn't understand the Watchmen.
It does not understand the Watchmen, but it understands Dr. Manhattan, and
God.
that is what I wanted.
Essentially God, yeah.
Yes, and actually, I'll take one scene out of that for a minute. He fights the Justice League. He doesn't try because they all fire their magic and everything else, and he literally just looks at him and does something you would do, Kyle. Just breaks it down. He's like, "You guys just learned to and he they threw fire at him with magic, and he just spins around in his hand. He goes, "You guys are just doing things on like a more basic level than I know how, like that I already know how to do. Like I can take it down to the most molecular of levels on everything that you're doing." And just walks away from them all. And
That sounds about right.
And then like he goes back and he explains like everything. The one thing, the Flashpoint Paradox is pretty funny. He used that time to change something, and he only changed one thing, and that is what I didn't know. Is what
Thomas Wayne?
Not at all. What he changed was not Jay Garrett, the original Green Lantern getting the Green Lantern on the bus or on the train. He changed that, which he couldn't become the Green Lantern, which didn't pull together the Justice Leagues of America, or the Justice Society of America. When that didn't get together, that means Clark never saw superheroes on to become a national long thing, which means he never teamed up with them when he became a superhero, which means he didn't save his parents when he was trying to become Superboy when he was younger. So he inadvertently caused the death. Like all he did was change one thing, killed everybody, screwed up a whole origin story, and killed Superman's parents.
Makes sense.
And all he did was one thing. And it was the way they wrapped it up and just went, listen, this universe that I just talked about is now New 52. Congratulations. 1, 2, 3. They're all still there. But 52 is now his own thing. I'll let you finish watching it. I'll let anybody go read it or just go watch a video on it. It's worth the watch, at least for that. But like then you have things that could have been great, and there my low was Secret Empire.
Yeah, Secret Empire is definitely a low because Marvel did it so poorly.
Here was the thing with that, and I agree with that. It had so where Doomsday Clock had this problem, and if you tried to follow Doomsday Clock from start to finish, you were waiting months.
It's like a month and a half between each issue.
And maybe you didn't know that. You didn't open the book and go, "That's coming out on this day." You just went to the store and it was there. And that was the problem with it. Secret Empire, where they had such a really good storyline to start, it started here, shat the bed right at the end.
Well,
like they crapped it.
It didn't shit the bed. The whole storyline was good, but between issues like 1 and 2, there's 3 side stories that you should read before you read 2. Between 2 and 3, there's 7. but they don't list out the order you should read it in or what's splitting off of it. There was no guide of how to read Secret Empire to get the entire story.
Sounds like a Haruhi moment.
But I will say, like, as I love Doomsday Clock, the biggest one was still Batman Metal.
Metal by far.
Metal, if you did not follow Metal, and I'll give you Metal, Metal was fucking phenomenal. Metal will blow
And-
your damn mind as a story.
In the back of Metal number 1 or 0,
It was 0.
it gave every issue they were going to release that you should read to keep up with the story.
Every single Batman Metal pin in my hand. You bought them.
have them.
No, if you bought the book, they handed you a pin of Batman, the Wonder Woman, the Merciless, my favorite one,
Red Death.
is of course it's Red Death because you love the Flash. Then you have like the Batman. Oh my God, the Cyborg one. It's effectively if Batman became like Aquaman or Cyborg or Wonder Woman, and it gets ridiculous. Some of the things that they can do, and like, and then you have the final one, which is the Batman Who Laughs, who was such a popular character. He's still running around now.
Dude, I fucking
Yeah.
loved that one too.
Oh
So
my
that
God.
was-
White Knight was pretty good.
White Knight was for any of you Michael Keaton fans.
White Knight was pretty good.
It was a direct spin-off of the Michael
Yeah.
Keaton Batman, 1990
Okay.
Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, that was a great movie.
No.
It was.
doesn't hold up as well.
It doesn't hold the buzz anymore.
No, it's still, if you can put it in context.
If you can put yourself back at like 1989, it's still watchable,
Kayla
but it
loves
doesn't hold up to. It's just
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
Help me
product
out.
of its time.
Help me out in remembering which one's the Michael Keaton Batman.
Tim
'cause
Burton.
Thank you. That's the
with
one. I'm
Jack
thinking.
Nicholson.
That's honestly, it doesn't hold up in comparison, but it's still a fucking good movie.
I think my favorite adaptation of it, really bringing the comic book feeling to life.
30 years ago, not the last 10 years.
Well,
That's another discussion.
That's a whole other one.
It's a different.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I know
Okay,
you're
yeah.
not reading comic books. I had everyone in the podcast read comic books because New 52 had just blown up right when we started. And we had some really fun ones. What about you, Jax? You reading books or no?
Yeah, I am. I'm reading more manga right now because I have more time. And one of the hypest moments for me right now is Berserk finally fucking continuing after a decade of not happening. And the storyline that they're coming up with this shit blows my fucking mind. And I don't want to spoil everything that's happening, but essentially Guts becomes Batman. That's step 1. Step 2, Casca smiles, which, if you know the storyline, that shouldn't be physically possible. And that should be the hypest fucking moment, bar none, of the entire series. Casca should not be smiling. And 3, essentially it's going to Endgame now, where Guts might be going against Griffith for the final time.
So, okay, if that's the case, let's just talk about regular movies. Let's throw the whole thing for movies in there. Because for some reason, it got really entertaining. Like 2014, as I always bring up, was the year of the actor and his blank. Because 2014 was was Keanu Reeves and his dog. Was Brad Pitt and his tank. God dang it! Oh, not who played in Distillation of Smog. He was the boatman. He was Bard. I can't remember that actor's name.
Oh, Luke Evans.
Luke Evans and his family, like, or his vampirism, like. Oh, and my personal favorite, which if you obviously John Wick is going to be up, is like number 1 for me. But like we've talked John Wick out the ass on this cast before, was Denzel Washington and his hooker, and that was Equalizer.
I fucking loved Equalizer, man.
You never watched it. It's effectively Denzel Washington goes murdering Batman in a Home Depot, and I can never walk through a Home Depot again without thinking of how I can kill everybody in here by turning off the lights.
I mean, you said Denzel. I'm in. I
It's
cannot name a bad Denzel movie.
I will. We'll you and me will sit down here. We'll watch it. I hear there's a 1 and there's a 2.
I know.
Which oh my god! Let me talk about that for a second. Equalizer 2 just came out. All right. Who was the fancy fight? I can never remember the actor who plays the Mandalorian.
Fuck.
He played in also Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know. I can't.
Yeah. Oh
Isaac.
God, it's on the tip of my tongue.
He also plays an Equalizer.
Not Oscar Isaac. It's
No.
Fuck. It's gonna.
Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue.
He played.
Pascal.
This is great.
Yeah, you might want to keep talking. This might take us a minute.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, here's the thing. He
I
plays.
did not look that up.
He
I
plays
remembered.
David Ward
Okay.
in Equalizer 2, which is the whitest guy I have ever seen in my life. You could have put money on, if you would have showed me the picture of David Ward in Equalizer 2 and then showed me the guy from Game of Thrones, you said he plays him, I would have bet money you were wrong. There's no shit. I've shown the picture of it and they were like they had to do makeup on him, expand his, like they had to reconstruct that dude's face to get him to look like this character in Equalizer 2, and I'm like, I don't like it. Like I couldn't tell.
Okay. Speaking of Denzel movies,
Go on.
and I'm a little bit upset that this never got a part 2. Has anyone here seen Inside Man?
Yeah.
I was obsessed with that movie for like a year. I don't know why.
When did it come out?
Shit, that's a good question.
Then when done talking about it.
Not 2000.
No,
not this decade.
it's last decade.
Yeah,
like 2006.
3 years prior. So.
Sorry, my favorite Denzel movie came out a long time ago, and that'd be Glory.
Glory's a great
Glory's
movie.
a fuck-
Yeah, oh, Glory's fucking phenomenal. But
Bone
we're
Collector,
backtracking
Remember
off.
the-
Yeah, that
Titans.
I think Glory goes back further. It's like 89 or
86.
something. Yeah, it goes
Yeah.
back a while.
Matthew Broderick is a
General, yeah.
general for the Union.
It was that. Okay, it's a great story. We all know.
Yeah.
Kyle, you said
Different
you
decade.
had some questions.
If we're not, I mean, if we're gonna stay on, we'll stay on this form of media. We'll just go anime of the decade.
Wait, well, hold on. First, let me finish up what I was saying here. Like favorite movie of the decade, then. That doesn't have to be anime or anything like that. Because I said it's John Wick. For me, it is John Wick. But I want to talk my underdog, my number 2, which was Equalizer. If you hadn't seen Equalizer, go see it. But John Wick is still. It spawned so much. Like 2 or 3, and fans are still clamoring to it, and it's phenomenal, and I absolutely love it. Anybody else? What movie really struck you this year or this decade?
Oof.
Well, this is gonna be a recent one, but Joker.
There
Thought
you
it was absolutely phenomenal film. The cinematography was unbelievable. I thought the story was great. I was able to put out of my mind everything I knew about the character and knew about the universe, which admittedly, compared to the rest of this room, is very little. I'm not afraid to admit that, but going at it from that regard, I thought everything was just incredibly well done. Very well played character. The setting was phenomenal. The production design was outstanding. Great, absolutely great film.
Jax?
Come back to me on that one because I actually have to break down my list.
I said, look at your phone going. You ain't texting people, are you? This ain't that
No.
kind of time.
No, I'm actually looking up something because I want to actually get this name right.
Kyle?
I can't think of anything off the top of my head from the last decade that would even go into a top 10, top 20 list. Nothing really. I mean, there were good movies, but nothing that's really stuck with me like, oh fuck, I can just go back and rewatch that over and over.
That's fair. There are a lot of movies I love that I have seen once, maybe twice, that I probably won't see again because I have very little desire to. Because
I like the
It won't
Joker,
be as good.
but I no interest to ever see that again.
Agreed.
it's gonna be a long time before I sit through and watch it again. But I still don't think that makes it a bad movie. By any
No,
stretch.
it's not a bad movie. It's a good art movie, and I will leave it at that.
Yeah, there's some movies you only need to see once because they're good and once is enough. And there's other movies that are just genuinely fun to watch repeatedly. Doesn't take anything away from either movie.
No.
All right.
Okay.
Did you find it, Jax?
I think I did. I had to make sure I was right. Train to Busan. Train to
Okay.
Busan came out in 2016. I had to double check.
What is that?
Okay. I want to say it's Chinese, but I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that one. Essentially, zombie apocalypse happens on a train. And they're trying to get from point A to point B, and they're fighting their way from one train to another. And it is good. Plus, they just came out with an anime adaptation on Amazon that I've been trying to watch. And apparently there's a massive twist that happens at the end that I don't want to spoil.
Are you watching on any Netflix shows?
I forgot
A few,
series.
actually.
What was your series?
The Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was
That was
a
Amazon, though.
fantastic.
series. It was. We did that whole cast on that. If you didn't believe how much we liked it, there you go.
Just barely made its way into this decade too.
yeah.
I cannot. Season 2's finished. They have a teaser trailer out. Oh, I cannot wait
Wait,
for that.
oh yeah, I'll binge watch that shit out of that. Go watch Kengan Asura off there.
Kengan Asura, you mean better
Kengan
version
Asura.
of Baki the Grappler?
You say better version, I won't break my vape on your fucking forehead.
Let
You
me
won't do it.
finish. Let me finish.
You won't go without a vape.
Baki has the better storyline. Azura has the more bomb-ass random fuck-all fights for no reason.
How much have you watched of Baki,
I have
sir?
read all of Baki, and that's why I can
Amen.
say that the anime, the one that they did for Netflix,
Okay, time out. Kengan Asura is effectively just fighting. That's the only difference.
That's why I'm
Baki
saying it
actually had
has-
storyline.
that's literally what I just said. Like, Baki
No,
has story.
I'm saying you're saying that it has more bomb fights. Yes, because that's the only part
That's
of the
what I'm
show.
saying.
Doesn't make it a better show.
No, okay. It's better Baki when it comes to fighting because Baki is all technical. Asura is. We don't have to explain the technicalities to you. It's a fucking fight.
Yes, they do.
They barely
Broke down
do.
Jeet Kune Do for you.
Barely.
Bullshit.
No,
barely
no.
my ass.
They barely touched the touched the tip of the iceberg of Jeet Kune Do. And this is just me understanding the full mechanics of Jeet Kune Do.
Oh man. Now I will say it is. I'll say it is it's a great B-list Baki.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
I'm not saying it's bad. I've been watching it. I downloaded it for my flight for something to watch, and I blew through it. I'm enjoying it.
Here's the question though. Have you gotten to the end?
Yes.
Okay, have you jumped ahead and read the book?
No.
Good. Don't.
Can't read.
This is true, but don't.
I'm surprised I spelled decade right. Okay.
Takade. No, dude, just I don't want to spoil what happens, but there's a
Then
reason.
just fucking don't.
There's a reason why I'm saying there's some twists that happen that Baki I wish they did in Baki.
Oh, Baki?
There's some twist in the Baki Netflix thing that I wish that they did.
My apologies. My
Yeah.
apologies. I thought you meant did I read ahead on Kengan? I'm
Yeah, I
like,
should have been more specific.
I've read all of Baki. We're good.
Yeah. Okay. So you know
I
what
know,
happened.
yeah.
Okay. So that the reason why I'm saying better Baki is Netflix fucked up. They tried to coin it as its own series when in reality it's what season 5 at this point.
It's actually season 4.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure that shit out for a while now. But
Yeah.
my point is they fucked up. Everybody that knew coming into this is like, oh, this fucking high school.
Which you had no idea why, and they
and
you had to go find it off to the side.
Yeah, and it pissed me off.
But that's enough of that anime. I just was curious if you, because you were talking about Netflix, if you had gotten a chance to
Oh
watch
no,
that
I've
yet.
seen all of Kengan Asura,
Yeah.
and holy shit.
I had to stop reading Baki because I couldn't keep finding it anymore. It got a little more complicated.
I might have to help you with that. No,
But you were talking about best anime of the decade.
yeah.
That becomes very difficult. Because within this decade, what has
you.
ended? Well, yes, for me and Jax. What has, because you gotta think about, are we talking about things that just started this decade or could have ended in this decade?
Happened in this decade.
Well, I'm saying that because Shippuden had been for example, and I'm not saying it's an answer. It's not my answer by any means.
Believe it.
Naruto had started like 14 years ago and finally ended in this decade. So I was wondering if that's what you were counting as well. Because to me, it's only a three-way fight between Fairy Tail, Dragon Ball Super, and My Hero Academia.
I have one more.
Well, I mean, Demon Slayer is great to watch. My Time I Was Reincarnated as Slime was good. What was your one more?
7 Deadly Sins.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I like Seven Deadly Sins. I do, but I wouldn't call it the best one.
No, I wouldn't call Super would be the best for me. Then it would be My Hero. Unfortunately, FMA Brotherhood was 2009.
That hits right in the middle.
Right below.
Right before the start of the decade.
Yeah. Let's see here.
But
I'd have to rank it almost the same way. My Hero. Okay, Super was the greatest extension of an anime.
fair.
The greatest starting of an anime still goes to My Hero. It has the greatest popularity, the greatest forefront. I would actually tack in Overlord on top of that too.
Overlord's been fun.
I loved Overlord because it's me as an anime character instead of a video game.
I do want a giant hamster.
Hamsky. I'm pretty sure you don't have. Do you have one, Don?
I'm trying so hard.
Well, the only one I had very much exposure to this decade was Overlord.
Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Sorry.
No, but it is genuinely good. I do enjoy it.
You do a great job, Demiurge.
Yeah, thank you. So that's that would have to, if I had to pick something, I'd have to pick the one I know best. But it's not a bad choice either.
No, it's not. Can I go DBZA? Sword Art Online A?
Yeah.
I mean, those were this decade.
Yeah. Okay.
Or got me beer.
I think I got one.
I mean, the abridged series were good.
The British were, but
Yeah,
they
fantastic.
didn't animate. They didn't
No.
animate those themselves, and that was the that's to be part of like the part of it that makes sense.
But they
Because
wrote it.
The reason why I would actually put Overlord and my hero above Super was because they didn't take 3 seasons or 2 seasons of their show to figure out how to do animation properly.
That's fair, but I mean, Toei had some problems and some financial issues, and Sony had to step in, and
God, it hurt to
I
watch.
mean,
But like everything after that was just phenomenal.
Funimation has some problems, and
I think
You know,
it was just fun like watching some like new stuff.
anime had some issues and some money problems. It happens.
Because nerds like me, you know.
Yeah, they pirate instead of paying.
Yeah, pirating.
Because I actually want to watch the damn thing.
Yeah.
What about you, Jax?
I had to sit here long and hard and think about this, and there's only one anime that I can honestly say that I have rewatched over and over just so I can have a field trip.
That came out of 2000.
2010 on the dot.
Okay. Well,
Angel Beats.
oh, I've heard of it. I've heard of that, but I've never watched Angel Beats.
Pretty much.
Sounds like a sex toy.
Not
It should
just
be.
sell us on it.
It's Angel Beats, not beads, but yes.
Okay.
Still sounds like a sex toy.
I'm not even mad. But so it's about a bunch of kids that are dead. They're living in purgatory and they're trying to figure out why. And the main
Oh.
character has amnesia. So he has no idea what's going on.
Main character have amnesia? No way.
Right?
In
Does he have
purgatory of all places.
Right?
Does he have protagonist hair? Or she?
Yes. Actually, the answer to that is to both is yes.
God damn it.
Because you have
I love
it's
that
not
game.
just one
Spot the
protagonist.
protag.
It's not just one protagonist. You have all the
Comes
protagonists.
out with giant pink hair. Oh no, I'm a tragic backstory.
I'm
The
sorry,
sad
man,
part
we've
is
had a
that actually
protagonist.
happens. Yuripei essentially had to deal with a Saul situation.
Here's the best part about it. Chi-Chi is the only one to come out with a bunch of main protagonists still sitting here.
Yep.
What's good?
Right?
Just flexing hard on people like,
She's like, I'm not going anywhere, motherfuckers.
oh, you tried to attack me in the movies? Garlic Jr. can go suck a dick.
She
Fuck you.
powers up and beats the shit out of
I swear to God, I thought she went Kaioken in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, that was a going. So Angel Beats is I've heard of it, and I've seen like the ending of it, and
Yeah, the ending doesn't hit as hard unless you've seen the entire series. And I have an issue where I've sat there and watched it in English, watched it in Japanese. Hits the exact same way. Because
That's rare.
yeah, that is scary rare. And
That is.
yeah.
in both
Oh my
languages.
God.
Baki didn't do that, but we laughed our ass off at the difference.
Baki did not do that.
Oh my God, no.
There was the difference. Okay, so you understand, like, okay, so for Don's explanation why we're all laughing, we did a cast a couple years back, and I said it was part of our anime club that I want to bring back, and I did for My Hero to watch, which was
What else was there?
read, and then you can go like this, and I want you to like just come in and tell us what you thought of it, share on our Facebook, whatever. And they did Baki because I wanted to do Baki, and then I got bored and I did subbed, and then I watched it again in dubbed, and the subbed and the dubbed are totally different, and
Oh,
not
my
for all the
God.
characters. All the other characters are okay until you get to the main antagonist. Which
Baki's
is
father.
Yujiro Hanma, who is a motherfucking monster. And I don't mean that in like in a bad way, unless you listen to it dubbed, and then he is a motherfucking monster. But if you listen to it subbed, he is literally a caring father who is just like, I am this omnipotent fighting being. I'm trying to raise this in the show. And in dubbed, he literally walks up to all the people that his son has fought and goes, I want to thank you all for this delicious meal that I'm about to partake as my son has been fighting all of you weaklings. In sub, it's like, I want to thank you all for raising and taking care of my son and getting him up to this level. I am unfortunately going to have to beat him. But I want to thank you all for giving it your all. And
Right.
beat the shit out of him. There was a difference. And then, like, we were talking about the manga going forward, he accidentally hugged his wife too hard. And I do say that was an accident. I will say it was an accident. Because hey, he's Japanese. He's not black. He's not white.
I could say a lot of things about all the things you just said.
Nah, he broke her back with a hug.
Yeah, that
He
wasn't no
straight
accident.
hugged her. He hugged her to death.
Bear hugged her to oblivion.
It was one squeeze.
Yeah.
And effectively it was Baki even said that maybe my dad loved her too hard. Mike goes, as long as you have this delusion of this thing,
Right,
my theory's not so bad. But it was like apparently the character in the story had nowhere to go. And he's like, when you're on the mountain, what the hell do you do? And no one's near the summit, so he created his own son to do it. So that was really like, that's where the sub versus dub, if you have a really screwed up thing, that's where it gets different.
Yeah. I do like the whole
So
relationship
funny.
between him and Muhammad Ali. I do like that relationship.
They got to get to that.
Oh shit, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't want to spoil that.
That is so good.
That threw me for a loop.
That was so funny.
But okay.
But
So-
okay, anyone have another one they can think off the top of their head? 'Cause I can't say books. I suck at that one. But I think the one that's lingering on top of our head is going to be the most common one I'm thinking of. I'm trying to get the hard ones out of the way before we went to video game.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to that one yet.
I
There's
got
been
that
some
one.
good book series.
I just don't know books. I don't read.
Well, I don't
I read
expect it.
comics a lot more than I read books.
I think there's one live action series that we've only briefly touched on, but was a big part of the decade. Game of Thrones.
I barely watched. I'm not gonna lie. I couldn't get into the series.
We can't get off of movies and television without at least a passing mention that
I mentioned
say one
Robert
of the,
Baratheon. That's enough.
one of the biggest shows of the decade.
Yeah.
It was, and it's kind of like it goes back to like Secret Empire for a minute, where you get to like a fantastic everything else, and then you get to the ending, and then
The problem with Game of Thrones,
besides they didn't finish the books.
the books aren't done, and they jump the shark.
Yeah.
The last season, I don't remember the guys' names off the top of my head, but they said they were making that season for housewives and NFL players and not going after their target demographic.
Well, I think the problem was their target demographic shifted about midway through the show when it became
When it jumped the shark.
became a huge powerhouse of a show and everyone was watching it. So then it wasn't for the fantasy people anymore; it was for everybody. That said, I think the show was fine. I still enjoyed every episode I watched of that show. I have my criticisms.
Except for Battle of Winterfell at the end.
I have my criticisms, but I don't think that it was. I wouldn't say it's terrible and garbage and it ruined the whole series for me.
Oh no, heavens no!
No,
'Cause
I
I
just
had
season 8 was
Bronn.
wrong.
I had Braun, and I was very happy with Braun. Like I literally watched 3 episodes of Game of Thrones. Went to Cal and tell him like, where it's at. Right, message him like, where it's at right now. Braun's still alive, right? And he goes, "You sure you want me to run the motherfucker? If he's dead, I have no reason to watch the rest of this damn series. I'll just
Tormund
stop
Giant
right
Slayer.
now." Huh?
Tormund Giant Slayer.
I hadn't gotten to him yet, so you remember I was at the very beginning. I'm like, if he's dead, I have no reason to go anywhere farther because you've got to be able to latch onto that character. And like,
I latched onto Tyrion through the books and through
Same.
the show.
Oh yeah,
But that's my personality.
oh, I love Hold on, I love Tyrion just for being the wise ass, and you can see that in most of the D&D characters that I play and how I react with people. And this is where it gets complicated in D&D. Me and Kyle, we can think the same way in like D&D, where we just manipulate everyone else to work for us. I attached to Braun because of just the hilarity factor of everything that he.
Whereas
did.
I made the mistake of attaching myself to Oberyn Martell.
Naturally.
Oh,
And that I spent about 10 minutes staring at a black screen at the end of that episode. That was rough.
Is it weird that I attached myself to Tyrion simply because I love Peter Dinklage?
No.
no, it's fine.
I've heard worse reasons to like a character.
Well,
Fair.
okay, so if that's the case, then let's talk. You talked about
We like
bringing-
Harley Quinn because Margot Robbie's hot.
I mean,
Basically.
that's fair.
That is definitely a horrible way to hatch onto a character. But we were talking about before, and that was a fun way to segue and bringing up an event that did happen. You talked about how Marvel movies brought comic books to the mainstream. You talked about how Game of Thrones brought fantasy to the mainstream. Let's talk about Ninja and bringing Twitch
Yeah.
to the mainstream. So I don't know how this happened, how that affected any of you guys, but I know it sucked for me to having to explain to a bunch of 50 to 60-year-old people in a
there, done that.
in a brokerage firm what the hell Twitch is because I walk in and it's on, what was it? Money Talk right now, and I'm like, this dude just did this, and I'm like, son of a bitch!
You mean Justin TV?
Oh my god, I gotta fucking explain. And literally, someone grabbed me, pulled me to the side, and was like, hey, what's this Twitch thing? And I'm like, it's the same thing I explained to you about what E3 was, man. Like, this is the shit that you people don't pay attention to and where all the money's going right now.
Okay, so for the people that don't know, because I did not give 4 shits about Ninja, what the fuck did he do?
So he was a huge Fortnite player, and he got
Still is.
And yes, okay. Well, he on Twitch. Let me finish my statement. He was a huge Fortnite player on Twitch, and then he got into some games with Drake, and then after that, they pulled in more and more rappers. And when I say he was big for what Fortnite standards were at the time. He then just broke the average by like multiplying it by hundreds of thousands in less than 3 hours.
He had over 1 million subscribers at one point.
Yes, but that only took him from 20,000 to 1 million in 2 hours because he had Drake and everybody else playing Fortnite with him. So think about that. Like now everyone's talking about it because that's a huge influx of money, and now he's getting sponsorships, and Samsung's trying to enter into with Twitch and then all the movie companies, which is shit that we already as gamers already knew about. It was just watching your favorite guy blow up. You're like, wow, damn, and like
I watched AGDQ, and it was classic Games Done Quick started in like 2011.
Yep.
2012-ish. Then it went to Games Done Quick.
Then annual games done quick.
Awesome
Then summer.
Games. Awesome Games Done Quick. Summer Games Done Quick started in 2014. It literally started in a guy's basement, like we're doing right now. And now their last marathon raised over $3 million.
That's something that we actually post about and talk about on our cast
January
fun.
5th.
We watch throughout the years all the time. If you don't get a chance, it's something that me and Kyle have considered doing too, and it's a game that doesn't get speed run, and we just know how long.
It's been speedrun by one of my favorite runners.
No, I meant like it's not done.
It's not done at the events.
Exactly. So it's a good chance of us getting in, and it's just very, very, very long.
We don't have the time.
Which game?
Grandia 3.
Oh yeah.
God, I love the Grandia series. Me and this guy literally spent 24 hours playing that game.
And your ex-wife stopped us 10 minutes before the end.
Oh, yes. I got in so much trouble for that. I didn't. Yeah, I mean, looking back, I got yelled at. It's such a fun game for us.
See, if I ever actually went and tried to get into speedrunning, I would definitely go for Parasite Eve. Just simply because I love that game too damn much.
I don't think I've ever seen that in a marathon.
Nor have I. And it's a fucking good game.
What about Legend of Dragoon before it gets the remake?
Oh my
I've seen
god, I
that
would
at-
play that in a heartbeat. I fucking love Dragoon.
I've seen that a few times.
I have not.
It was on the earlier ones.
I don't see it in Games Done Quick, but I've seen people play Nights into Dreams in European speedrun, assumedly. But
I watch ESA, I watch GSA, and all of it.
I just wish there was more races with like Sonic 2, but I never get to see that.
I've seen a few.
But they're not like there's an entire
Sonic-
community of just Super Mario 64 speedrun races.
Yeah.
I want a Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and Knuckles race. That's all I want.
So, recently, one of the speedrunners from, I want to say he's from Spain. He is a Mario 64 runner, but they started a speedrun league.
I'd fucking join that if they did the games I need. But yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it switches up.
Yeah.
I don't know much about it. It's really rather new.
All right, I can dig it.
Then let's go ahead then, because that was our big talk there. Let's talk on the video game then. Ooh. Anybody have it on their top of their head?
Yep.
What's up?
The game I've been playing religiously for the past couple of years, Warframe.
Okay.
Don't know how it happened, don't know why, but one of my
It's all
friends...
Gary Gygax's fault.
Yeah, probably. Shit.
It really is.
No, it was a bunch of Canadians that decided that they were going to make Space Ninjas, and it worked. And I
You
fucking
just put space and ninjas together. Yeah.
Throwing pirates in it.
put some Iron Man shit in there together, too. It works out. But it's a fucking glorious game. It started from nothing, then suddenly they raised a shit ton of money, and then they made their own convention. So...
Don?
Oh, I've got a number of games that definitely hit my my decade pretty hard. I've already mentioned Fallout. I'm gonna mention another one of mine. Relatively small game that not a lot of people know about. Bruce, you've heard me talk about. A little game called Foxhole.
I've heard you talk about it.
Never heard of
One
it.
of the most entertaining games I've ever played because it fits everything I was looking for in a game. It's a persistent world, MMO, kind of MMO style, isometric World War I/World War II resource-based fighting game or combat game. So everyone that joins the game put in a massive world, huge maps that all connect. Anything you want, vehicles, you have to gather the resources for, construct, put it onto the field. However, it's so big and so time consuming that you can't. Your frontline soldiers can't be the ones also building your tanks because they'll never get a chance to drop them out there. The main battle tanks take. The war has to persist for like 3 weeks before the tech tree even gets far enough for big tanks. And then they take 24 hours to craft the blueprints, and then you have to still build the tank and supply it with ammo and fuel and drive it to the front lines. It takes a logistics team. We're talking hundreds on hundreds fighting in this ever-changing map. Construction, defenses, foxholes. It's a huge, huge game.
Sounds kind of like Eve.
Yeah.
It's got elements to Eve, except it does reset. The war does end. When it ends, that's when they'll normally do a content patch, start over, and the war starts fresh. They've got some new mechanics that they're always developing that kind of help bridge the gap from one war to the next. But every war plays out different. You can switch sides only in between the wars, and then you're right back at it. What do you do best? You a frontline fighter? You a soldier? I played a medic a lot, so I was the one keeping people alive, making sure you don't lose valuable resources because it all costs resources that have to be trucked to the front lines. But you have to be careful of enemy saboteurs get behind your lines and they laid mines on the road and they managed to hit your supply lines. So there you go, you lost a ton of resources, or they captured them, took them back to their base, and now it's theirs. So every bullet that's fired has to be constructed in a factory, put on a truck, and carted to the front lines so your guys can keep fighting. Absolute tons of fun.
Free to play.
You have to buy the game, but there's no subscription fee. So it's I don't think it's that expensive right now. But I picked it up I think in a Steam sale 2 years ago, and it's just been developed even further and further since then. It's some of the best online war game experiences I've ever had.
Oh, Steam.
Oh.
That's something of the decade.
Yeah, I had to write that down. Holy shit, I might buy that.
That does sound very Eve-like, and I could never get into Eve online just because the amount of... That's a full-time job.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's people that have full-time banker jobs and accountants in that game, and that's their job. And then you hear about a battle that cost $2.5 billion
Yeah.
because of things that were lost. It's ridiculous. I love reading those stories, though.
Well, you'll get like a small taste of that in Foxhole. Like there'll be a huge battle, and you realize, all right, we're pushing the enemy. We got this huge battle lines trying to take over the city, and now we're out of howitzer shells, so we can't keep our artillery barrage assault going. Well, that's trouble. Fight back with what you can, but you're just gonna get slowly rolled over if you don't get resupplied. If you don't have a lot of time
Find the
to play,
silverware.
Yup.
if you don't have a lot of time to play, you can hop in,
Was
find
it-
the front lines, and just grab a rifle and fight for like an hour. If you have a lot of time to play, go start at the base, mine some resources, start some construction, and then make your way to the front lines.
What about, like you're talking about Eve, what about that guy that he got destroyed and then he created a new account, joined a corporation, made it all the way to the top of CEO of that corporation over 2 years, and then
Nope.
just dismantled the whole entire corporation to fuck them all.
Yep.
My God, that guy,
That is
that
some-
is holding on to some spite right there.
That is like
Yeah.
petty awards. I don't care what anyone says.
You win right there, man. What about you, Kyle? Game of the... Not even game of the year. Game that has influenced you the most.
I won't go with Game of the Decade because that's going to be a question for a little later on. But I mean, the Arkham series, fantastic. With the
Agreed.
exception of the tank simulator at the end.
Or Origins.
I don't know what you're... I don't know what you're talking about.
Who's ever heard of Arkham Origins?
I mean, Heroes of Might and Magic 7. 6 was a lot of fun, even though it's a little different, but
Way different, yeah.
still fun.
I really wish they actually did Gaslight.
Divinity and 2.
I was gonna say mine that's influenced me for this year was probably Divinity: Original Sin.
I like 2 better, but yes.
No, well, yeah, I mean, Divinity: Original Sin is what I picked up I got bored and I was going through the store trying to find a game that was gonna be entertaining, and I picked up Divinity: Original Sin from GameStop. And
Larian Studios, check them out.
Fucking yeah, we've promoted them like a motherfucker on our Facebook and here. I picked it up and I'm like, it was like the Game of the Year edition or something, and I'm like, okay, Kyle, I got this game. Well, but about this guy right here. He was talking about moving back, and I'm like, I didn't really have a job at that point. I have nothing to do, and he goes,
I'll preface this. I moved to Texas for 2 years to work in the solar industry. My lease was about up. I was traveling about 95% of my time in Texas. I was never at my place. So I'm like,
he had a
I'm
really
just
expensive
burned out.
storage unit.
So I'm like, my lease is up. I'm going to go back to school. He doesn't have a job because he's in between contracts. So I message him. I'm like,
he says like, let's move back, and my response was, man, I'm not doing much. I could help you drive back. He messaged me the next morning. Okay, so your plane takes off, and I'm like, wait, what? And I walked in I was living at my parents' house at the time. I walked in there and went, so I'm going down to fucking Texas. Can someone drop me off at the airport next week? They're like, okay. And this is right when the Cubs are in the World Series.
very true statement.
Oh,
That's my moment of the decade.
That's his moment of the decade. Well, we were listening to a game on the way up.
That was playoffs. That wasn't the World Series.
I know, no, we were listening to like some games on the way up, and we watched at my house even and did some stuff. But I picked up Divinity: Original Sin and I brought it with me, and I'm like, I have this game, let's play it. And we were supposed to go to bed, and we kept playing it for a really long time.
We only played it for like 3 hours the initial time, and then we made the mistake of packing the TV. So we, like, fuck, I guess we'll just start the drive now. But when we got back is when we put
hours on hours of figuring that game out.
So we put 60 hours into it and realized we fucked up. So we had to go back to the beginning. And it took us about 75 to initially beat it.
Well, there's a section you can't kill these things unless you have this wand, and like we our save file that was originally to get the wand was way back when, and it was a nightmare. But like
You
it was
learned character classes and all that nonsense.
But that's the cool thing about the game is you pretty much like friendly fire on all the time. Who doesn't need friendly fire? Just
Elemental physics is on.
all the time.
Like poison clouds will blow up. You're standing in a pool of ice or water.
It conducts electricity.
Conducts
Enjoy.
Electricity.
First 5 minutes of the game, Kyle blew me up.
That's every game though.
Deliberately?
That's not probably.
No, it was hey, the friendly fire is usually not a thing. Dropped a boulder that spawned oil. I was like, wait, what the hell was that? And he goes, firebolt. And I was like,
fossil toss.
it was fossil toss was the name of the spell. Then he goes, firebolt, and explodes me up. And I'm like,
Well, I guess this hurts everybody now.
It does. It's a thing of beauty.
But yes, and then like my reignition of fighters was also this year as well. Like Tekken 7. We put some
Wow.
hours into that game.
Oh.
And then Dragon Ball Z Fighters, which made
I
me...
mean, go back to King of Fighters. We put a lot of hours
Oh,
in
that
the
was
beginning
this
of
decade. Holy
beginning
shit.
of the decade with King of Fighters when I was on
20
leave.
King of Fighters 2013. There was no good like fighting games out
There
at
was
this
no
time.
good multiplayer games.
That was
out
what I
at
meant,
the time.
multiplayer.
Yeah.
So I picked that up, and he asked me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just playing this." So we sat there, smoked cigarettes, drank beer, and played King of Fighters to the point of us just beating and mastering every fucking character in that game. He went
My
back.
fingers bleeding.
Yeah, his finger was bleeding. Mine were just cramping up. But he went back to the military, and his friend was playing it. Kyle sits down, looks at him, and goes, "I'll play," and just floor whops the guy. And the guy goes, "Man, you're really good at this." I'm like, "You should play the guy back in Illinois." I'm like, we're just fucking around. Like, but
I
like,
never pick a top tier character either.
no, God, no. I picked it because I like Terry Bogard, and that was about it. Like, I like
Athena.
Terry Bogard. Oh, Athena. Fucking Athena.
See, I
Athena.
still just need more King. King was my girl.
And then Kitty Boo Boo for Tekken. I don't know Kitty Boo Boo's real name.
Neither do I. But I know Brian. No.
Brian Fury was.
Yep, it was Fury. Brian Fury was my guy. I just boxed the whole
Lucky
time.
Chloe.
Lucky Chloe, there it was. I just boxed the entire time I played that game, and it was just fun. But it released my favorite DLC of the decade.
Which one?
Tekken fucking Bowling.
Wait, what?
If you do not know, this Tekken 7 has a DLC for Tekken Bowling. And if you ever want to come over and play it, I
Try and
still
guess
have
what
it.
happens in Tekken Bowling.
They play volleyball.
That's the best thing ever.
Tekken Bowling is so much fun. We put everyone, but the games go by really quick. It's just just playing your character to see how they would bowl or finding the right guy that you would use. It was like you play Jack and he's freaking, or Jack 5 and he just launches the ball like a million miles down the lane and that's it.
Just
But it-
break souls with it.
No one did good in that game. Like no spares were damn near impossible for us to get.
Damn.
It was very difficult. Like it was fun, but we had like as soon as I heard about it, I just downloaded it. I had people over here and we're just like playing Tekken Bowling all night. Like, and we don't even like DLC, but that
DLC was
the
worth
DLC.
time.
All right, so since
guess-
Kyle stepped away for a moment, I can ask you two
Shoot.
for this question. Favorite convention of the decade.
Ooh.
Okay.
Favorite convention of your year.
Yeah,
is
really,
effectively
like,
it for you.
Because for well,
He's been going to conventions since like last year late.
RamenCon 18 was my first convention. I mean, RamenCon holds a special place in my heart because it's where my convention season started.
Just getting this out of the way quick.
But Yeti is up there
This isn't video
for being,
games.
for being such a such a unique experience. But Atlanta, I think was just incredible. Going down Anime Weekend Atlanta to see how massive that was. I think that was the most impressive convention. I probably had the most fun at Yeti.
Jax?
Okay, so of the decade, it's a three-way tie for me. And one, I'll give credit where credit is due. This year, I had two that tied with each other.
Anime Magic?
Well, Anime Magic was like not the highest on the decades, but it was a great con, but it wasn't the best of the decade.
I mean, an honorable mention for a first year.
Yeah, it was a glorious honorable mention, but
Go on.
Anime Central 2010, going the farthest back, that was the first time I can honestly say that I stayed up for 72 hours and did not realize it.
Rookie.
No. I've stayed up for longer, but I'm not doing that anymore. But that was the one year where I was just like, oh, wait, the con's over already? What the fuck? I never touched my hotel room. I barely ate, and the entire time I was just like just fueled on hype.
Go on.
Let's see. The two that tied this year. Youmacon, because the rave was phenomenal. And the last con that I actually just did a review on, because I was asked to do it. Midwest Fur Fest. It was literally nothing but raves the entire fucking time, and just good vibes. And
You're a rave man, I can see.
I like good music. Like, if you give me good music and actual good feelings the entire time, I'm a happy bastard. And the tabletop room wasn't that bad either.
God, for me, like, it has to be, like, I have to break them down between, like, vacation conventions and, like we're working conventions. Like, Midori Fest, to be an example, would be something that you guys, I hadn't taken you guys to before. It was at Shawnee Lodge and Resort, where me and Chris just sat there and just cooked all the time. It was our first time at, like a relaxing event where we just brought steaks and burgers and, like, favorite con of the decade has to go to not this year, but the year before Geek Out with the wrestlers.
Okay, you got to tell a story.
Oh, Kyle would be able to tell the story better. He got to run the ropes.
2 years ago.
I thought it was two. Was it 2?
I
You're right.
skipped
It
a
was
year.
2. Okay, it was. You just skipped a year. It was 2 years ago. My bad. They
Eastern
asked
Christian Wrestling.
They brought out wrestlers who I was sitting in the nice room, and I got to talk to them, and I convinced them to come down and drink with us.
Hold on. You said the name was Eastern Christian Wrestling?
Uh huh.
There's a Christian wrestling ring?
Plenty of them.
There's a Christian
yeah.
everything.
What the fuck?
There's plenty of them. Doesn't matter. They came out and they hung out, and Kyle got to actually run the ropes.
I did. It was a lot of fun.
It was the first time I had you
Those things
and
hurt.
I had you and Tony out there at the same. No, Tony came out. I thought.
Tony was not there for the first Geek Out.
Well, your first geek out. There's difference. No, guy, he just came back.
So, we're talking Greco or are we talking WWE?
WWE.
Okay.
Professional wrestling, not
Okay.
Well, that was
not amateur
then,
wrestling.
I think that one was up there. Then I actually have to go with this year then actually because we did the brisket and didn't die. You understand that brisket was difficult because Kyle started it and then we all had to watch it, and if you didn't watch it, the water evaporated, and then when the water evaporated, the heat.
So that's the start of a 17-pound brisket.
Yeah, that's about right.
Jesus.
Yeah, the
Surprised you didn't smoke her.
we did.
That is.
Ah, okay.
That's the finish of the 17-pound
So here's the
brisket.
thing: how long it took to cook. We started it, and then we went to bed, and like I stayed up as late as I could. Met some raccoons, met a baby deer, passed out with bird watching it. Woke up to go to the bathroom at 6 a.m. or 3 a.m. and freaking there was Seth just sitting there at it. And I'm like, Seth, what are you doing? He's like, looking for this stuff, and I'm like, no, I meant, why are you watching it? Bird wanted to go to bed, and I'm like, oh, it's over there. And I just crashed right back out.
And then I woke up at 6 and it was done, and it was supposed to go for another
But yeah,
like,
if you didn't
6 hours.
it was supposed to be at like 220, but if you missed the water putting it in time, it jumped to like 350,
Oof.
and it was just an inferno in there. So we had to pay attention to what we were doing.
But it's so good. It tasted so good.
He woke up an hour later so I could come get. He was messaging me. It's ready, and I'm like, I'm crawling. Give me a second. But
Brisket
that-
for breakfast was amazing.
It sounds
Oh,
amazing.
but that was also my fun part.
Brisket for any time is
Well,
amazing.
well, here's what I love about that event
I'm gonna do
and
another
as a
brisket.
whole. I go like straight full dad mode, where it's me cooking and Chris couldn't make it this year, so it was Kyle helping me cook, and like we were sitting there with a beer like the entire time, and we were just cooking. Like if you would have came up to our campsite, we had a portable kitchen supplied by Bird's Family that had like all the stuff there. We had all the plates on there. Kyle was on one. We had a flat top with we had a grill and a flat top all combined.
Supplied by my brother.
Supplied by his brother. And Kyle was on one side taking care of hash browns and bacon.
Uh-huh.
I was on the other side doing eggs to order for everybody else.
Nice.
So they were coming up, they'd get one thing, and then there was like he'd put up special like hash browns for me and him because we wanted to make sure we
would
got
have
it.
given us more money.
Yes, that's always that's usually a slight issue. But we ended up just like sitting there, just yeah, I know, Midori Khan, I know.
Yeah, Midori taught me that.
But that's where I try to like limit a lot of that. But so we just cooked everything, and Tony did help out a lot on that.
For the money, yeah. Tony
Yeah.
did help
So
out
we
a lot.
well, the cooking I knew was gonna be on you and me. And
I wanted the cooking to be
I
on
know
me.
that's why I wanted. That's what I meant. Like we talked about this before. So people would come up and just like get eggs, and we'd just be cooking everything. And there's always the fun time of the Saturday night funness.
Relaxing.
Oh, it's just relaxing too. It really is, and that's why I encourage everyone to go next year again. I'll have my baby. Baby will just be born,
Aw.
and Hannah had already messaged me and said, "I've got you your private cabin." I'm like, "Thank God." No one wants to hear that cry at 3 a.m.
No.
But they will.
Not in that private cabin.
That's what you think.
So I had him like, dude, if you want me to come, I need a private cabin for the kid. Wife needs it, all this other stuff, and so we've got that coming up, and that'll be this
June-ish.
second weekend of June. Will be
shit.
will be the time.
Well, shit. Congrats, mate.
Thank you. His birthday will be when the baby's born, May 26th.
Nice.
But that's just cons out of the whole thing. Kyle, what is?
So, going back to what before I left, you were talking about the DLC for Tekken Bowling.
Tekken Bowling, yeah.
My favorite DLC for the decade has to be Tiny Tina's Dungeon Keep
Yes.
for Borderlands 2.
Oh my God,
D&D
yes.
expansion of Borderlands 2 was
Tiny
so good.
Tina made me cry.
Bunkers and Badasses, not D&D. That's copyrighted, so it had to be Bunkers and Badasses.
I was so happy because
That was so much fun.
we got to meet Mr. Torque and become
Yep.
friends with Chris Rager
Rager.
and Josh Martin.
Yep.
But I also met Thousand Face Cosplay, who were cosplaying a Maniac and Tiny Tina.
Psycho.
Oh, Psycho, excuse me. And Tiny Tina at the time.
I really like the voice actress for Tiny Tina. Some of the stuff she's done independent of the game.
I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but I know.
Ashley Burke.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
If you haven't seen her web series, Hey Ash, What You Playing?
Yep.
I highly recommend you check it out. Short videos, very funny. And when I found out that she was gonna be doing the voice of Tiny Tina, I was like, oh, this is gonna be great.
That flipped my lid though, because I remember Hey Ash, what you playing?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, that caught me off guard.
She also played the voice of the merchant Cricket in Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't she do Aloy for Horizon?
I think so.
What is it?
All of the Borderlands DLC, especially for Borderlands 2, was fantastic.
Man.
I will say, one of my favorite things that we got to meet within the decade. It's kind of a toss up.
Pillsbury Homeboy.
And my toss up is between that opportunity for the football friends to meet Vince Lombardi's grandson and hang out with him and keep up contact with that guy. He said one of his responses was, "Why go try to meet these people when I can take you on to Lambeau Field and we can make fun of the Green Bay Packers?" And I'm like, who are you? Like, I didn't know his last name.
Powers do you
I didn't know his
possess?
last name at the time, and I'm like, I looked at my people I worked with and went, who the fuck did you sit me next to? All I know his name is Tony, and he was a Green Beret. That's as far as I've gotten in the conversation. I walked in, what's your last name? Lombardi. Like North? He goes, yes. I turned
would've
around,
gone
looked at
like
my
Vince?
Yeah.
I looked at my entire team and I went, motherfuckers! You guys put me next to this guy and you expect me to keep him entertained?
Like,
And
you
I
have
did.
a trophy named after your family?
Right.
I got to keep him entertained, and he's like, you need to come down here, like, bring your military friends, your veteran friends, and I'll bring my veteran guys, and we'll sit down and we'll drink. And I'm like, let me get this all situated, because let me get this conversation. He's in New York right now, so I have to wait till we get that all figured out. Because, yes, I'd be more than happy. He drinks what's called the See You Next Tuesday, and fuck that again. I'm not doing that ever again. I took a drink he ordered one, and I looked at the bartender. I'm like, I'll take whatever Tony's drinking, or he's drinking. He goes, you want what Tony's drinking? I'm like, okay, you know who he is. That scares me. He's like, yes. He goes, he's drinking a See You Next Tuesday. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't even care what it is. Just go ahead and hand it to me.
Sounds
He
like
goes,
Horseman.
It's on the fucking no. It's on the menu. I'm like, I don't even care. Just hand it to me.
Was it juicy?
Nope. It was clear liquid in a martini glass, and I took a drink, and I'm like, are you drinking straight vodka?
Was it salty?
No. But he goes, no, there should be something else in there. And I took a drink, and, oh my God, is that vodka just mixed with tequila? And he goes, yeah, there we go. And I'm like, yep, there we go. That explains a lot. One of his guys walked up to me and goes, man, Bruce, you're nursing that. I'm like, I could shoot it. He puts his hand on my shoulder and goes, as your lawyer, I suggest against that. Or I highly advise against that, because he does have a bachelor or a master's in law, a bachelor's in strategic intelligence, and a bachelor's in mathematics. And why I asked him about the law, he says, fuck any lawyer that would tell me what the fuck I can and can't do. And I'm like, I love this man already. He's my new favorite person. And he's a great beret, because we talked about how people are stupid. I looked at him and went, are people dumb to you too? And he goes, fucking really, man. I'm like, good, I'm not insane.
People are dumb.
But it would be the other one.
do you think I
Would
live
be
alone?
meeting the Pillsbury homeboy in Josh Martin,
Who's also Barney.
who's also Barney, and Majin Buu, and Chris Rager all at the same time.
Hold on, repeat that sentence because my brain just snapped in half. Barney is Majin
We'll
Buu.
talk about-
Yeah,
no,
one of the Barneys
One
was
of
Majin
the
Buu.
guy he was one of the guys in the suits. He
Yeah.
wasn't the voice.
Okay, that scared the fuck out of me for a
No, he was
second.
the
Like,
voice.
No, he was just the guy in the suit.
No, he said he was the voice, too.
I heard he was just when he said it to Kaylee, he was just the guy in the
there's
suit.
a lot of fear
on
that's
his
like
IMDb.
rising up in my thoughts. Like, I didn't need to know that the thing that terrified me as a child is also the thing that terrified millions.
Yeah, no, that was him. He was all the booze. He was and Chris Rager. Who was the thing?
Which one terrified you as a child and terrified millions? I'm confused, because
All
Barney is both.
terrified me.
Barney terrified millions.
And then there was fucking Majin Buu, who didn't terrify me. He was too precious.
The whole story behind those two, when we got that explained to us, was those two getting those gigs. Was the fact that Chris Rager is the one that suggested Josh Martin to get the job.
It's true.
He brought him in there, and then they did the Pillsbury Homeboy routine for him, which was Pillsbury Doughboy like rapping, and it is my favorite thing ever.
Stoned.
But Chris Rager apparently walked into the Hercule like thing, and he reads the character description and goes, "I already got this job." He's like, "Why? I'm gonna do Macho Man Randy Savage and turn it up like to $1 million."
About right.
And he did, and he got
Mr.
He
Torque.
got the gig. It was Mr. Torque, and he's like, "Yep, this is it." And like it was just awesome to sit there and talk with them the entire time. I hijacked their panel just to speak with them.
Nice.
I did too.
We brought them booze. That
did.
that made them very happy.
Yeah,
This is going to be cocktails with Hercule
It's
and
like,
Boo. Oh, really? Would you like some?
Oh shit! The cocktails came to us because we didn't have a lot of people in there. Then they came by our panel and we had like a full house, and they're like, "How'd you guys do that?" I'm like, "We really don't know." Bird brought them all. That's all we know. Most of it was our friends, but it got
brought
really
us
bad.
flock.
You were saying we had all the drinks because this was the Comic Clowns at the time. We had all this alcohol just lined up underneath the thing. So
At
we're
a
sitting
dry convention.
at a dry. We're just sitting here talking. Yep. You saw nothing on the table. Everything was just right underneath at our feet, and we were all just shit faced. It was a 2-hour long panel of just talking like this.
Nice.
But that was like that's probably my favorite, like one of my favorite, like I guess Comic Clowns memories. I mean, you're brand new here. Me and Kyle's had some. We brought on Squarriors.
Squarriors was fun. My favorite memory is racism is okay if you're smart.
If you're super intelligent, which was an argument between Green Lantern.
So the first horrible movie tournament, I was on vacation from Texas. Came up for our buddy's bachelor party and stayed an extra day to do the podcast. Was Batman vs Superman
BVS show.
versus Green Lantern. And it was Nick versus me. So that was a fun dynamic just because we're probably, next to Bruce, the two most boisterous personalities on the cast who could hold their own in a conversation while the rest needed prodding and pushing and influence. And, you know, the whole Watchers and the heads of the Lanterns are extremely racist.
Right.
But they're smart, so it's okay.
So was Sinestro.
Well,
Sinestro
yeah.
was obscenely racist, dude.
He truly was. But like we got to meet so many people. We've had such a good time doing this. So you'll find Squarriors like Nerdist and things like this. But we
They're
found
starting
it.
to blow up.
Yeah, they're blowing up now. We met them, and we're like, we need to get them on the cast because this is the greatest thing I've ever read. And
It's fantastic.
and like it's Game of Thrones with like animals. And I called them
So
up.
it's-
I called him up, and the guy was like, "Yeah, I'll come on." And we just sat there and talked for like an hour. It was, and now they're huge. And his wife, so they're Ash and Ash. His name's Ash.
they
her name's
married now?
Ashley. Yes, they are now. They went and had a surprise wedding. She actually illustrates for Marvel. She's done a Mary Jane. Oh, and DC. My bad. She freelances, so she's done a Harley Quinn. She's done a Mary Jane, and if you've seen Fallen Angels with Cable, Psylocke, that one cover with them standing there, she did that one.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't have the money to pick up the extra print they had of that, the freehand print. I'm like, oh,
I wanted the Squarriors prints. They were expensive, though.
yeah, they are. But like, they're really like that was just a fun time just to sit there, and if we can get someone on the cast that has such a good time with us, it's an amazing thing. In your podcasting, you just started this year.
Yeah, I've met so many nice people in between. I met you. Hell, well, I've known you guys for a bit, but just a little
You
bit.
knew my predecessor.
Yeah, no, I knew your predecessor. I also knew you a little bit.
You've heard it. You met me once, and I couldn't remember you. I apologize.
It's
Like, wait a minute.
fine.
Like, wait a minute. Shit, I know you.
Everyone knows me somehow. But no, one of the few people just during this entire thing that I have to say that I had the pleasure of meeting was my childhood role model and my childhood idol, Kenichi Sanada. I've been in love with his work since I was a kid, and I met him when I was younger. When I was still first learning how to do cosplays, I did the shitty version of Bean Bandit that to this day I'm insulted by myself from doing. And I heard he was coming back, I want to say 2 years ago.
Oh, you talked about this on the last cast.
Yeah. But what got me was this year. because I don't think I actually explained what happened this year. Got a chance to talk to him, but I got a chance to talk to the music director for the new series that's coming out. And one of the things that hit me the most was this guy was the same guy that did the original music score. Like, he was the one that, like, scouted out everybody. And I asked him flat out, do you remember the bassist that was doing the ending theme, Running the Road for Riding Bean? He's like, hell yeah, that guy's still living in Chicago, right? He's like, that's my fucking uncle. And that fucking blew my mind when he actually remembered him. And we just talked for hours. And I was hell-bent on getting him on the show. Didn't happen, but it was one of the things I really wanted to happen. But just talking to just different people, just being able to talk to just normal people, famous people, VIPs left and right, and just reminding everybody flat out, I don't care how famous someone is and from the beginning to the end. It could be Brandon Urie, it could be God, I don't give a shit. Everybody's a person. And people just need to realize that on a
dare
big
you,
fucking
sir.
level.
Kyle's
Dr.
eyes went up
Manhattan.
to the sky. I'm like, here we go.
Brandon Urie is not just a person.
I don't
Brandon
know. I don't
Urie
know
is
who
a
that
questionable
Panic at the
existence.
Oh.
Brandon Urie is a superhero, but that's a whole different
Brandon
story.
Urie has done some amazing things with this. He's like, I do all these Panic! At the Disco songs. So for charity, I'm going to release a death metal song on
Yeah.
Twitch. And he did, and it was fucking awesome.
He also did a song with Lil Dicky.
Everyone's doing a song with Little Dicky.
He also
Yeah.
did the DuckTales theme, and that still hurt my head a little bit, but it was too awesome for words.
Yeah,
I don't know what Little Dicky is either.
and it's fine.
Comedy
okay.
rapper.
He makes fun of himself.
Jewish guy.
But yeah,
Hence his name is Little Dicky, so he makes fun of him.
but I just fucking love the fact that just doing this, I get to talk to people and just see what they see. And that's honestly my highlight, just doing the show in a nutshell and being able to talk to people.
Yeah, it's been a trip so far for us. We're from the stopping to the members that we had joined, to the members we've had leave, to the members that are yet to come, to what's happening right now. And like, I have a Facebook group of like 8 people, and 3 of us are here. I have to pull Jackson, which you're like my first message, honestly. It's like, if I can't fill a squad, hey Jax, what you
Live
doing
that
right now?
far away from you. That's
And
the
that is one of the
part.
reasons you're one of the first people on my list to hit up, and it's always fun to cross promote. I like to
Yeah.
see people get successful.
You're on the show for geographical convenience.
Yep.
Him or Cheto.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
I would say Jason, but he's in the group chat now, so
Right.
that's on him. I think he's in the group chat now. Shit.
I think you have to tell Jason we're recording 3 weeks from now,
Yeah, he's a busy man.
and then he'll still show up a half hour late.
So I guess Kyle, did you have any more that you wanted to bring up?
2, Game of the Decade,
Okay.
and Surprise of the Decade.
It's a tricky one.
It is.
Do you have your game of the decade, Kyle, to lead us off?
I've brought this up to a lot of people, and you get The Last of Us a lot. You get the Mass Effects 2 a lot. For me, I don't like going back to this, but it's got to be Skyrim. I've put so many hours into it because it came out while I was on deployment. But the modding community has kept it alive till
And
now.
like he said, he would come back to that.
It's been on. It gets ported to every system known to man,
Including the Amazon Alexa.
It might even be on my phone right now. It's possible. Who knows what the fuck Bethesda's
That's called
doing?
Blades.
Not, yeah, not Blades is.
Yeah. Well, I haven't downloaded that, but it might be that U2 album that just magically shows up into your iTunes.
Yeah, right.
The one that fucking keeps happening even after I delete it.
Yeah,
every single
well,
time
here's,
it updates,
here's,
it
here's
comes
what you
back.
understand. If you listen to the whole album from start to finish, Skyrim automatically unlocks on your phone.
It's true. it just, you see the clip, so you're awake.
It's part of the user agreement you just didn't read.
The temptation is strong, but
I mean,
it's also you too. So
The Fallouts get thrown in there. But I kept going back to Skyrim has had the biggest impact of the decade.
I mean, yeah, that
It's
engine is
influenced so much. Everything plays off it. I mean, Breath of the Wild basically Zelda basically became a
Yeah.
almost Skyrim
That's true.
type game.
Skyrim.
So-
Skyrim took open box. Like GTA started open box. Let's get
Sandbox.
that. Sandbox. Excuse me. It started sandbox. Skyrim just made it better.
Yeah.
Well, and they already had a good base to draw from. Like Morrowind
Well,
was outstanding.
Morrowind, Oblivion.
Oblivion was great.
That AI was sexy.
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. Guilty Gear. Every Guilty Gear game that came out this decade was just
Yeah,
a
but which
blasty
game?
blast.
To you, which game can you put on right now and be like, and you believe that's still like?
I'd fucking drop Zerd in a heartbeat. Like, just, if not for the storyline, just for the fucking combat system. Like,
Don?
Well, I'll give a nod to Skyrim. I also want to give a nod. This isn't for me personally, but I'd like to say Minecraft deserves an honorable
Minecraft
mention.
deserves a lot.
Minecraft was the other one that came up a few times.
Yeah, even though technically released in 2009 as an open beta, it was officially released in 2011.
I hate betas. They're not really betas anymore.
Right,
Here-
but it look at what it did. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
talk
no,
about another
it's-
game that got ported to everything.
Okay, here's
Oh, yeah,
something
no.
that's actually kind of cool. For everybody that actually did go in for Minecraft when it was still a beta, it was like, what, $2, $3 at the time?
Yeah, not much.
If you actually remember what email and password you have, they give you an extra copy. I found that out recently because I keep watching people like live stream freaking Minecraft nowadays. I'm like, let me actually just jump back into this just to see if I can get some relaxation down. Re-downloaded it, popped up my username and password, and they're like, oh, by the way, here's an extra copy for Windows 10.
Yep.
Okay, shit.
Yep. But if I had to give my personal game that really carried me through the decade, it'd be World of Warcraft. A game that I was playing before the decade started.
Yeah, I was gonna say that came out way.
Still, I'm not playing it right this second, but I still have an active sub.
Same.
And I will still be playing it when Shadowlands release.
Yup.
And, I mean, we're talking a game that came out in 2004 that hit its stride in this decade. It was great back then, but we came into this decade with Cataclysm, which was, say what you will about it, but then...
I loved Cataclysm. I'm not gonna lie, I did.
Cataclysm was great. Mists of Pandaria came after it. Fantastic. World of Draenor, down a little bit. Legion, amazing. BFA, it's okay. And, I mean, we'll see Shadowlands, they say next year. I'm kind of hoping they go back to releasing it when it's ready. But, I mean, you gotta give props to a game that can withstand a test of time like that.
Honestly, I couldn't. One of my best friends back in the day tried to give me a copy of World of Warcraft and even gave me a year subscription. I stopped playing in 3 months because my frugalness just kicked in hard.
Mine. I gotta go Arkham Knight. It was that sandbox feeling. It wasn't as open as Skyrim because they kept it down because it was more, to me, it was way more graphically intensive than Skyrim was. But as beautiful as Skyrim was, I loved the idea of being Batman and just having,
Well, naturally.
of course, that's who I am, and having that fantastic storyline to fight all the villains, because it gave you that feel of like, I'm going to go get this power up. I'm obviously going to use this power up for this one thing, and that's it. But then they gave you all the Riddler trophies. I'm like, come on, you completionist bastard, what you got?
Fuck that noise.
What do you have? Well, that's the cool thing about Arkham City, was if you finished at Arkham City, if you got all the way through the storyline, you could just finish right there and you got an ending. But if you got all the Riddler trophies and finished off the Riddler, you got a different ending. Mm-hmm. Which I'm at this point
Fuck
of
that
just
noise.
YouTubing both of them, because I have not pressed that button. I still have the game. I'm done with the game. I'm collecting Riddler trophies right now. I have not pressed the button yet. I want to know
pressed
what it
the
is.
button.
I know he did, but for me, it's just that moment of being
And then I YouTube the good ending.
exactly. But that's me for like I enjoyed.
I would like to do that Riddler fight because that's a fun-looking fight.
That's
but
why. That's also the reason I want to get there, is because that fight looks great.
refuse to go through and get all the Riddler trophies.
I'm working on it. I'm in the middle of it still, but it's like fighting And then like the combat system was just phenomenal. The quick time of being able to stop to, which we don't give that really good nod to God of War for coming up with quick time events in between the middle of fights, and Devil May Cry for things like that. But
Or the
But I
OG
think
quick time event, Shenmue.
I'll even go Legendary Dragoon, because when you attacked, you had to press square or circle in the middle of the attack, or X circle in the middle of the attack to make sure it didn't get blocked. That started it. But like Batman Arkham City, like Arkham Asylum was fantastic. Arkham City redefined that and made it even better. And it started off with a really cool like beginning. I did love that. That was just it was, to me, that was probably the best. And now, biggest surprise of the decade? Shit.
Well, what do you got,
So-
Kyle? You proposed it.
If I'm going games, it's Mario Rabbids.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'll even expand on that even further. Nintendo in general.
Yeah.
The Switch is by far the system of the decade.
Yes.
My sister, who's never been a gamer, owns a Switch.
Well, hold on. I think they won the console war for the decade.
Oh,
now,
completely.
But for me, it's like when you're like, Diablo's their first like hardcore. To me, from what I've seen that's been proposed out there, there's obviously indie games you can download, but you'll never see unless you already have the Switch. It seems like the PS4 was like hardcore gore fighting game. Xbox is gonna be your shooters with Halo and things like that. Where Switch was like, we're gonna have like the fun Mario games and all this other stuff you're gonna enjoy. But then they're like, we're also gonna grab Diablo and we're gonna grab Skyrim and we're gonna grab all these hardcore games. And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
But
Whoa.
not only that, they've started leasing out their IP for indie games.
Yep.
Cadence of Hyrule. Crypt of the Necromancer. It's a music.
I fucking
Rhythm-
rhythm Necromancer, dude.
I couldn't get into Crypt because the music doesn't, but put fucking Hyrule theme.
Yep.
I played the fuck out of Cadence of Hyrule.
Yeah,
and
you got the rhythm down.
And they just released a new DLC for free. But Mario Rabbids. Who the fuck would ever think Nintendo would team with Ubisoft
Right.
and take the Rabbids
Of all
out
the
of
characters,
all
yeah.
of Ubisoft stuff?
And make a tactics game out of it.
And it's
it's
XCOM. And
Yeah.
it's good. It's really
Stupid
good.
It reminded me of back when Paper Mario was a thing. Like,
Yeah.
No one expected that, and my God, did they take a left turn into awesome
I
and
mean,
make something really cool.
Also, the
Nintendo
RPG
also has
servers, yeah.
Divinity Original Sin 2 now.
They just grabbed that. What about you? What was your other thing? So you said video games?
If I'm going the non-gaming media, I go back to Daredevil. Netflix pulling off something so gritty that's still owned by Disney and being allowed to do that.
All right. If I go just nerdy overall, it's going to be Dragon Ball Super. And here's the thing with that one. If you obviously look around here, I've had that poster behind Jax for well over almost 2 decades now.
I used to have that poster.
Yeah, I have it. I got it signed, and I'm still getting it signed by people. But it's like I didn't think anything was going to come up, but out of nowhere, go watch Battle of Gods right in the theater right now, and I'm like, oh my god,
Did
we're
you-
gonna release a what?
Did you hear the story of why we started getting more Dragon Ball?
No.
Because of what happened with the fucking live action.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The story is Akira Toriyama really wanted to help with the live action.
It was also GT too. He
Well,
didn't
yeah.
he didn't like GT. He didn't like what Fox was doing with his
Yeah.
property.
And he got so pissed off about how bad the live action went, he made Battle of the Gods. Just out of spite.
So they did Battle of the Gods, and I'm like, awesome, Battle of the Gods. I took like me, Mather, Chris, a couple of people. We all went. I'm like, that's awesome. We watched it in theaters, badassness. Not even mad about it.
Then
Then-
Resurrection F.
Then Resurrection F. I'm like, wait, we're bringing Frieza back. We're going back to my middle school. Oh shit. Okay, let's get this motherfucker back in here. All right. And then I'm like, that's gonna be it. All right, we're done. You know what? I am content with this. And then they went new anime. yes, be it I was disappointed with the first half. Because I would have went like, why didn't you just cut up the movie and put it in there? You already had the animation done. We were finished. And literally the first 2 seasons were Battle of Gods, Resurrection F. That's the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then you get to the third one, and I'm like, wait, we have a third one coming? A big-ass tournament with... There's other universes? We have multiverse theory? Oh, that's which isn't even multiverse theory. It's different universes in general. And I'm like...
Tournament of Power?
No, Z had that too, but it was just dead.
Yes, which wasn't canon.
What? Oh,
Was not in the manga at all.
yeah, fair.
That's why PyCon has never shown up or been spoken of
Ever since, yeah,
that.
That's fair.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, wow. But that opened up for other movies, and that's why it surprised me. Because My Hero Academia movie, The Tale of
Still
Two
need to set
Heroes,
it up.
I'll watch it with you any day of the week. The Tale of Two Heroes movie, me, Kayla went cosplayed, Ryan went cosplayed, and we just sat down in the back of the room and we watched it, and I'm like, this is it right here. This is them setting up for, because Super came back, we have this amazing things that are going on. And I can't even say it's Super then, it's the Revolution boom.
You already want a beer.
That wasn't even a phone. That's my freaking medication alarm. I have no control over that.
It's the anime boom, I guess is the best way to put it. Super started it, and it exploded since then, and that's made me ever so happy.
I like Super because I started watching Super, and everyone in the room when I started talking was like, wait, what? And it was just like, fuckers, I just didn't watch it because I don't like reading. If I'd much rather watch the dubbed because it's easier and I can distract myself with other things.
Oh, I agree wholeheartedly. So, like, I watched the subs, though, because I wanted... Like, I didn't want to fall behind on that.
I understand
because
that.
because when it first came out for me, someone who did it, it came out and it was subbed, and I'm like, okay, this is really good. So like, I even had Bird and I had Mark sitting over here, and we're all just watching it. We're like, this is really fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
Like they actually
I was
did.
there for a few of them.
They did really well. The dubbed is fantastic, but I don't know. It's the Goku. It's the Goku Japanese voice that does it for me. And like some of the lines that they alter in the sub that makes it better for me. It's like you when he was powering up versus Topo, and he goes, "Wait till you see when you happens when you push me past my limits," and like he said something completely different in the dub, and I'm like, yeah, I don't like that one. Can I get this one? Can I get this one on a shirt though? So I literally have it screenshotted with the dub with him sitting. I'm like, Kayla, get this on a workout shirt for me, please. Your uncle can do it.
I don't understand why they changed so much of the context of speech between...
Because kids these days here can't handle the roughness of...
It's not even that,
No,
though.
it really is.
It isn't, though, because they've done it for years.
I mean, because if you look at Dragon Goku becoming Super Saiyan, he never said "ally of good, nightmare to you." No, it was something darker in Japanese.
Yeah, and that was, what, 20 years ago?
I get that. I'm saying, like, kids in America. I'm saying in America. They need a friendlier cartoon.
The easy mode, hard mode of video games.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, essentially our standards and practices and censorship are significantly different. However,
But
they're
they're
getting
so much
better.
stricter over there.
You wish they were. They're not,
No,
really.
they are.
The standards
They're-
and practices are different. They're different. They have to follow by a code of rules, but what they can say and can't say are totally different. They're more open to be able to do that.
Right.
They just have to follow certain things. Yes, I get it. It's dumb here too. But like I said,
Scales are tipped in a different way.
Super returning to demolish what GT was probably one of my biggest like surprises of the decade. For video games though, it was the Arkham series top to bottom. Did I ever expect to see a good Batman video game in my lifetime? Never. I never did. And they gave me 3. We don't talk about Origins. That never will be
Batman
done.
Returns on the SNES was good.
Oh,
Batman Nintendo was good.
no.
Yes.
No, it didn't work.
Batman Nintendo
I had
was
played.
okay. Returns was good. It was
Returns
for
was-
a side scroller. That was
Yeah, but I'd already sit there and played like 4 million side scrollers.
yeah.
in
It
my
was
So?
more the same, but it was fine on its own.
Oh yeah,
It
it's a
was fun.
fine
It
game,
was a
but
good
those
game.
revolutionized a lot more.
Yeah.
is what I mean. Did I expect to see it come back? Because you remember after DC returned Batman Returns, what did they release after that? Oh yeah, Superman 64.
The greatest game ever made.
I will break a mic over your head. No,
you won't.
I love you too
I
much.
remember renting that game. Oh my god.
Jax?
Interesting.
If you
I got one.
shrink the
No,
screen down to the
hit
smallest
me on.
Okay,
settings,
I got two.
it
since
runs
you gave me
smoothly.
two. So you already covered Dragon Ball. I'm not gonna go super because that's a whole different conversation. The anime surprise for me was Wano. Everything that happens between, I want to say right after the New World arc for One Piece all the way up to Wano has been nothing but a shock. And I've been in love with One Piece since it first came out. I did not expect
Pirates.
that too, yeah. But I could not expect where they're going with this, and I don't. Are you okay if I spoil a little bit?
No, leave it alone for right now.
Okay.
Because I may go watch YouTube videos and watch it at 2 times speed to keep up. It is like 1,400 episodes, so it's like just watch it on 2 times speed and be done next year.
Yep, pretty much. So
I mean, by that, I mean by 2021.
yeah.
Just be caught up.
So One Piece was like a really big part for me growing up. So that really caught me off guard. All the stuff that they're trying to pull with that, and the fact that the friggin' writer, he's been waiting for this very moment since he started writing the manga in the first place.
Sounds like my D&D campaign.
Right?
Yes.
Just like I'm waiting for you bastards to fuck up just enough. But I guess the video game surprise for me was the last Guilty Gear game of the decade before the 2021 comes out. They did something that was not supposed to happen. They revealed that man's name and essentially hinted that in a 2020 game he's going to be playable. And again, this motherfucker has been the villain since the first game. And that's like, what, 20 games ago at this point?
That man.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, actually, it's not even that much of a spoiler anymore. You mind if I actually say his name? Oscar Cruz. That's the lamest fucking name they could have gave him.
Wow, that is Japanese / with Hispanic rolled into one right there.
Yeah. It
Can't even tell where he's from now.
right. So that
Filipino,
guy's name
right?
is Frederick.
He's
Yeah,
Filipino.
Filipino.
And this whole time, it's just like, you mean to tell me we've been waiting for Oscar Cruz? Yes. All right, fuck
Wait,
it.
for Metal Gear you said, or Guilty Gear?
Guilty
Guilty
Gear.
I thought you said metal, and I'm like, wait a minute.
No,
I'm
Metal
confused.
Gear is-
Oh, okay, good, because that was so fucking like I did like that man, Oscar Cruz. What the fuck?
I had to think about it
No,
for a
if it was
second.
Metal Gear, there'd be an animal name in there somewhere.
Yeah.
That's why I was confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Did he-
Oscar Panther Cruz or some shit like that. But no, that was the biggest shocker for me.
Oscar baby hamster.
Man comes up with like a fucking nuke strapped to his shoulder. Where's the baby hamster? This is little boy.
What about you, Don?
I'd say, for me, one of my biggest surprises, and I'll go with gaming, of the decade was the rise of the content creation culture that happened. We were still
Fair.
kind of in the YouTube infancy coming into the decade. There were Let's
Yeah.
Plays were becoming a thing, and some video game based content was out there, but it was, there were some creators, but not
It was
a ton.
Game Informer, IGN. It was the
Yeah.
people that were paid to do it, not doing it out of a
I came
passion.
into the decade listening to the likes of like Total Biscuit
Yeah.
and his that's how I got even more into WoW was his Cataclysm videos, and then into content creation around video games. But then it blew up from there to different, not only just YouTube channels, but Twitch and streamer culture that just became huge.
Let's look at Abridged.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
there's like 3 good abridged that I absolutely still love watching, which is Dragon Ball Z, Sword Art Online, and Goblin Slayer.
I actually haven't seen the Goblin Slayer one yet.
Go watch the Goblin Slayer abridged. It's hilarious. Hey, my name's Goblin Slayer. It's goblins. My name's goblins. You're still here? You shouldn't be.
You forgot one.
Hey, before you leave, I'll let you watch it. Which one?
Helsing.
Yeah, I'm about to say you can't.
I forgot
diss
to throw
one.
that one on there. That's my
No,
fault.
that's actually the coolest part. The final episode of Hellsing Abridged, since you never heard of Mr. Big, they did a cover of Mr. Big Shine. And nobody knew it, and I was hyped for that shit.
Like we made people on our cast
We're
watch
friends.
Hellsing Ultimate.
Acquaintance.
Slaves.
I brought slaves.
And the runner takes the mark. Like it was so like all of that, like all of just the abridged as a whole when it comes to content creation was that like big maker for a lot of things.
This is the decade of
Yeah,
content creation.
You cannot be bored anymore and say there's nothing to watch.
No.
Always something to
I
watch.
want to point out the since I love Fallout so much, the Wayside Creations, their Nuka Break series, that normally you'd think, hey, well, they're using assets from the game, sound effects, a lot of environment details in the background, composited in, and sometimes that gets a cease and desist. Like you do anything trying like to do a Star Wars fan film, and you get a C&D letter. Bethesda shouted them out on their blog and said, "Look at what these guys are doing. This is awesome." And it's so they made something. They made a Fallout TV show that's as good as anything you could expect from
Bungie hired one of the Halo 2 modders, like one of the original modders. Bungie hired because of work they did. Bethesda has hired modders because of work they've
Counter-Strike
done.
became a retail release.
What you completely forgot to bring up was the fact that the content creators for Foxhole, even that you didn't even tell that man about yet. You brought up Foxhole.
Well, the content creators for that do. Oh yeah, I guess Press Corps.
Thank you.
Press Corps. Yeah. Well,
You spent literally like a half hour in the car ride from freaking Anime Milwaukee to tell me about
That's fair. There's a group on Twitch called Press Corps that covers the Foxhole ongoing war as if
That's
they
awesome.
were 1940s radio broadcasts.
That is
In-studio guy,
awesome.
And they will cut to a guy in game in the battle. I've come across their reporters in game, and they have the Press Corps tag, and they're just in the front lines, and they are recording live on Twitch.
Now-
while also recording in game. They will do interviews with soldiers on the front lines.
Do they
You hear the,
talk like the 1940s?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they have that. They have that radio voice.
Oh,
I'll show you a
yes.
clip later. Just so
Oh,
you can
my
imagine.
heart.
That is fantastic.
I've been
my
in a
favorite
battle
shit ever.
listening to the broadcast, and I was on the other side of the battle. Our team was lobbing artillery shells at the enemy line, and the Press Corps guy is in the other line talking about the artillery barrage hitting him. I'm like, I'm involved in this. This is so cool to be like, they're reporting on the battle as I am
Attacking
fighting
them.
It. Yeah,
To even
that was outstanding. And
build on your
That's like second level screen
that
peeking.
is amazing. To build on your content creation, Nintendo again, Mario Maker built an entire community
Yeah,
solely. They don't have to do anything.
They make streamers cry.
That was their
It's-
whole goal all along. Let's watch these
That's-
weaklings cry.
You
Like
think you can do
all
a
I
better
watch is Mario Maker and
You think you can do a better job?
Mario ROM hack
Show us.
streamers.
Oh crap! They did do a better job.
Hilarious.
yeah.
It's awesome.
It's a great time to have something to watch. You want to put something on in the background. You want to watch something intently. There's
Podcasts.
Podcasts.
Podcast
This
as a whole.
this is the era for podcasts right now.
Absolutely.
Holy shit!
Content creation is in a whole is
Exactly.
this decade.
This is like where you. But here's the thing with content creation: you can't only do one. Like this has to go on YouTube. It's got to go on Spotify. You have to be if you want to become successful at it or just have fun with it. You got to be able to. You got to have all the venues while you're doing it. Like this will go up on everything. We're on Spotify. Go find us on Spotify. It's awesome, and it is a good time to be alive. Like I always listen to the podcast stories of like dads like reading they would read a story with their daughter and their daughter would come on and explain the story that they read, and it's just really fun to listen to.
well, I mean, the original podcast is War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Anything, so if you talk about video games, what about media? We talked about like anime and things like that. We talked about anime, but what about like what movie or something like or a book or a TV series that surprised you that came out of nowhere?
I'm gonna go AEW.
Well, yeah, because okay.
So
Well, I wasn't talking because we did anime. I'm saying I stripped away like media for him
okay.
because this man doesn't watch
This
anime.
is fair.
I'm not really much of an anime watcher.
That's what I was talking about.
No,
But
neither
I'll go
am I.
with you too, so I'll go with AEW.
so
I'm gonna have to give you a list.
I've got a list. Don't worry.
We
so do
all
I,
give
but
him lists.
they just never get watched.
AEW.
So I have to go AEW.
Oh
so
fuck yes, dude! That is so fucking fun to watch.
for the better part of since 2000, really, when WWE/F bought WCW, you had nothing to watch for wrestling except that one product.
Yeah.
I dropped out from wrestling when I left college and went to the military. Came back in about 2014-ish, 2015. And you had some independents starting to grow, your Ring of Honors, your New Japans.
I still agree. I was watching during Jeff Hardy's run, and when Jeff Hardy won after that, when I was in the Navy back in 2008, 2009, it was like that was the highlight for me. But I hadn't watched almost anything like up to that because I didn't have a person I could relate to. And then like even after that, after he left and like I just like stopped. I'm like I'm
Honestly,
I just didn't have anyone to watch with. It was
Right.
I'm in the same boat as you. Like, realistically, I was super hardcore into sumo wrestling when I was a kid. And the closest thing I got in the U.S. was Rashiki, and I really loved him. And when he stopped, I stopped.
and he died.
Rikishi. No,
okay,
Rikishi's
Sam
alive.
King's alive. Umaga.
Umaga died. Yokozuna died. A lot of his family has
You
died.
came back in 2014.
So you go. It's still really all you have is WWE, because TNA's on a network that who knows exists. New Japan, you can catch on YouTube. It's a lot harder to keep up with, and all the indies is. It's unless you have a connection with someone, it's a lot harder. But then you get Cody Rhodes asks for his release and leaves. Young Buck's contract ends with New Japan. Kenny Omega's contract ends with New Japan. Jericho's contract ends with WWE. He goes to New Japan, meets all those younger people, and they do All In back
In Chicago.
in Chicago a year and a half ago, sell out a 10,000 seat arena in 42 minutes, I think, with no backing. It's just those names.
So let me try that again. They're at C2E2 this year for their New Year's Revolution event. And
No, it's just AEW Revolution.
Oh, Revolution, my bad. Revolution. And Kyle was lucky enough to get us 5 seats.
6.
Oh, you got 6. My apologies. You got a 6. And the moment he got them, he then sent me a picture after he bought them that AEW had sold out. They went live today.
They sold out in under an hour.
Jesus.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I was clicking through. I'm like, I want these 6. No, you can't do that because it leaves one by itself. I want these 6. Oh, they've been bought. I spent like 5 minutes trying to find seats that aren't being bought up underneath me.
C2E2 is running a package where you could spend $350. You will get your C2E2 ticket, and you also get 100 level seats to AEW
Yes.
and signature signings with the superstars.
Damn.
Like,
So
I was like looking at that going, I'm thinking about that.
So for being a wrestling fan, it's probably
The best time.
the best time since the late 90s to early 2000s
Since Stone
because
Cold
there's
was taken off.
options.
Yep.
Yeah.
NXT is amazing.
NXT is amazing. I'm not the biggest wrestling fan. Like, I love watching it, but I don't
And-
make one of it. But NXT is intense.
I will say the NXT women's division is probably my favorite thing going on in
Oh,
all
yeah.
of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
Because Shayna Baszler's amazing, Rhea Ripley's amazing, Bianca Belair, I can't stand her character, but she can work her ass off. And I can go through the litany of names down on NXT, but I won't. But it's probably the best time to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Amen.
So I might have
And
to get back
no
into
one-
it then.
I would highly
if you ever
suggest
want to come over here and
Wednesdays.
just watch on Wednesday nights with me, I'm in.
All right, shit. I got nothing better to do after next year.
Raw and SmackDown, read the dirt sheets.
Yeah.
Not so great to
I
go
watched-
back to, but
I watch their top 10s on YouTube, and I move
Yeah.
on with my day.
I watch What Culture. They do ups and downs for it,
Yeah.
but
And
No
shout out to
one-
good content creators there with Walt Culture.
well, yeah, they have their own What Culture Professional Wrestling over in the UK. It's a lot of wrestling right now.
Yeah.
NWA is solely on YouTube, and they produce it like it's an 80s wrestling show. There's TNA is still running as Impact. You have the entire
Which you're still surprised by.
Billy Corgan owns, or no, Billy Corgan owns NWA. Yes, the Smashing
no, Billy
Pumpkins.
Corgan owned TNA.
No,
He was in TNA for a bit.
right now he owns NWA. He's NWA.
He was
though.
part of TNA for a bit.
He was part of TNA, but now he's NWA.
And speaking of 80s wrestling, a little nod to Netflix for Glow.
Glow is
Great show.
a great show.
I have yet to see it, but I keep hearing good things.
Twitch. Tommy Dreamer has House of Hardcore solely on Twitch.
Okay.
It's
It's wrestling.
no one saw this coming
Yeah.
except for Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks.
Well, they knew. I think Vince knew it was coming, but he laughed at it.
No, he knew they were doing shows, but no one saw that it would carry this surge. They didn't think that there was this.
That's what I'm agreeing with. I'm saying I think Vince saw it and he was just like, he scoffed at it because we're the juggernaut.
And they always will be. No one's going to unseat them.
Yet, that we know of.
No, I don't think they'll ever be unseated. Just because of how much of a worldwide influence they have.
That's fair.
But no one thought that it would build to what it has. It's just a lot of fun.
What about you? Your surprise media for the decade?
For me, it's going to be also the rise of independent media outlets like Netflix and Amazon really putting some dollars behind some great content.
Yeah.
You mentioned the Marvel-related shows on Netflix. I want to give a shout out to Amazon, too, because I didn't think Amazon was going to succeed.
Amazon angered me when they succeeded. Holy shit.
I had an Amazon stock.
They hit big, and some of my favorite shows right now are on Amazon. I just finished watching season 2 of Jack Ryan. Very fun show. It's entertaining if you can get into it. It's not a show for everybody, but it is entertaining. And then probably my current favorite show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is one of the funniest, best produced period pieces. Insane production value.
I need to watch that too.
Insanely good cinematography. The acting is fantastic from every single character. And this is from Amazon, the bookstore company that became that not only do they revolutionize logistics and online sales, but now they're getting good, genuinely good content. And
they're doing Wheel of Time. They have Lord of the Rings coming.
Hold up, they're doing Wheel of Time?
They are doing Wheel of Time.
Oh, I gotta renew my Prime account. Oh.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So that was my big media surprise of the decade, is watching these go from streaming existing content to brand new content created in-house with in-house production dollars. It's the best stuff out there right now.
All right. So with that, I'll bring this cast to a close with one more question for you four. And for anybody else who made it through all of this and will want to listen to the end of this, what are you looking forward to the most in 2020? Not the next decade. Let's just get through 2020 alone.
Perfect Vision?
God, I wish I could. That's laser eye surgery for me.
Hindsight?
Yeah, right? Yeah,
Shit.
hindsight. That's what 2020 is going to be all about.
Shit, I'm hoping for hindsight. No.
It's 2020.
Well, yeah. No,
I will say
4 more years. Sorry.
I'm about to say.
I'll jump in.
I will say for me is going, and this doesn't have to be like for just personally what are you looking for. For me, it's how far I can take everything that I'm doing. I have CFF, I have this, I have my business, I have my actual career life, I have streaming on here, I have a lot of things that I do. And I'm looking, and obviously I have a kid, I have my 1 year anniversary, I've been married for a year, come up on the 5th. Who knows if I'll actually be streaming the day before that or not, we'll figure that out. It'll be an entertaining, just year of personal and professional growth and seeing what I can and can't do. And I'm looking forward to all the events that I'm going to this upcoming year and how much they've changed for us. And I'm looking forward to doing this talk next year and seeing what our highlights for those 12 months are going to be.
I'm going to piggyback off of that, actually. Growth is kind of a big thing for me right now. Again, we started the podcast this year. We got insanely big faster than I anticipated. Honestly, I was expecting 2 listeners and hoping for the best from there. And now I'm just like, okay, I have to make this bigger. I have to get on Twitch. I want to get on YouTube. I want to go to more cons. I want to actually get more people on the show. I want to cover more things. Holy shit, there's so much I want to do. So, growth, growing the business, growing through my other internship that I'm trying to get, going from there.
All right, well, for me, 2019 was already a pretty big year, especially on the personal front. 2018 really kicked off a lot of things for me when I took the plunge to start my business in earnest and run it full time, and 2019 was a big year for that, and 2020 is looking to be even bigger as long as things keep on the trajectory. We've got some other business ventures in the line that I'm hoping we can make those happen next year. But if not, the continual growth. And then, 2018 was the year I joined up with CFF. 2019 was a big year for expansion of that and getting more opportunities. So I'm looking for another 2020, another year with CFF where that can continue to grow the way it has been and take us to more weird places last minute, as kind of was the theme this year.
Last minute's the best part.
Yep.
I'm just looking for change.
Me too, man. These quarters are harder to find.
Right. It's just, I don't know. I'm very nomadic. Since 18, I haven't really been in the same place longer than 2 years. It's been 3. The blood's kind of boiling and it's getting itchy. So 2020 will bring some kind of massive change to my life because it has to happen. So I don't know what that's going to be yet, but stay tuned.
I will say that change was the big thing for me as well. Me and Kyle have the same conversations every morning, and we're both trying to figure. I sat at my job every day, and I'm like, this isn't for me anymore. I can't sit here. They're like, we're gonna send you to Jacksonville, and I went to Jacksonville on Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, and I'm like, this helps a little bit, but I still got to go to work tomorrow, and it doesn't really change much of what I'm doing. So I'm with you on that, on the change factor. If I can find a way to make everything just pay for itself and I don't have to worry about going to work anymore, I'd be fucking happy.
You and me both.
But I know that's not going to be for a while. And I'm going to try to do something with this next year. I guess with that, I'll wrap it up. Go ahead and plug.
All right, if you like these guys, if you love us, hit me up specifically at The Conventional Podcast. We're on Podbean, we're on Spotify, we're on iTunes, we're on everything you can fucking think of. Hit us up wherever you want to.
Are you on Twitch?
Not yet.
But then
You
you're not,
shut your mouth.
Are you on YouTube?
You know what? Leave me alone.
You said you're on everything I can think of.
Right after this.
God damn it.
That's 2020.
Hey, calm down. At least he's on Grindr.
He's got a couple weeks. He's got a couple weeks.
He's crying,
No.
and I said I'd make him cry by the end of the podcast.
You see this?
That's
Dry eyes.
No.
Dehydration.
Just because he's on Tinder at least, okay?
Grinder, Thrinder.
Oh yeah, that's another thing with 2020. If I could, my mom would love it if I got married in 2020.
Is Grindr making you think of that?
That's a
The
question.
Tinder was.
I mean,
Although Tinder has been throwing guys onto my list every now and again. It's like, well, you're striking out enough on this. Why don't you just try it and see?
you might like it.
Close your eyes and think of Paris. It
John,
might help.
go ahead and plug your company.
Digital Coco is the name of my company for graphic design, marketing, creative works, as well as technology sales for digital signage, screens, basically anything that plugs in and we can get it from a distributor, we'll get it.
Awesome. Always plug. I don't mind people plugging in their information there. This will be my our last cast for 2019. I want to wish, on behalf of everyone here, a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You guys may or may not see a very intoxicated New Year's post from the Comic Cons Presents the New Year's Black Tie Gala or here at the house. Jax, I hope you can make it.
I'm hoping so too. I'm trying to get back from Georgia by that point.
Okay. We'll be doing. We have a party here. Usually try to make it up every year, and I mean honestly, whether it's Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you like to do, Boxing Day, I don't really give a shit.
Festivus.
Festivus for the rest of us, just do your thing, and just take this time to celebrate and have a good time. For the Comic Clowns, my name is Bruce Hoover.
I'm Kyle.
Don Thomas Macaluso.
And I'm Jack Sentinel.
From the Conventional Podcast. Can't see I'm trying to steal you away. You guys have a wonderful night.
Always.
I'm a cat.